Are you cheating yourself out of a bigger refund because the tax code is so complicated? 801-575-TALK. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of frustrated tax filers today. I know when the IRS removed the funds from my checking account a few weeks ago that I owed, I was frustrated in that day. I came to work feeling down.
Yes.
Down thousands and thousands of dollars, thinking I'd kind of figured everything out, right? Because I've been without kids in my home where I can deduct, what is that, the child tax credit? I haven't had that for years. It feels like decades. And I thought I had everything figured out. And they were like, wrong again. And now they have this slick way of setting things up where they can just dip into your checking account and remove the funds on the date you choose. And I chose my date to be mid-March. People are probably like, why'd you pay it early? Like, I wanted to make sure they got their money, and if there was a problem, I had a chance to fix it. But I think that's a great question to ask our listeners. Are they so frustrated by the complexity of the tax code, the fact that we even have to use those words, tax code, that you feel like you're cheating yourself out of a bigger refund? But I want to also talk about what are the best financial strategies that laid out by money experts where you should be spending your money on, your tax refund on. Because the average, according to what Axios has written about this morning on this tax day 2025, the average refund for the Utah is about $3,200. That's a chunk of money.
No question.
Right? That's quite a chunk. And I think the tendency can be like, this is a windfall. Let's go blow it on a vacation. We've earned it. Let's set the money aside for, summer fun. And I think there are higher priorities given the landscape of where we're at with the potential for, I hate to use the T word again, tariffs to increase prices and interest rates that are stubborn, that aren't coming down on our credit cards. I would say that would be my number one priority. If you are paying on a high-interest credit card, get that thing paid off if you can. And it can feel a little bit like grasping at ropes of sand because maybe you owe $10,000 on the credit card, but your refund is like $3,500, so you throw all that money at it, and you're like, oh, I haven't made that much of a dent, but you have. You have, because you're not going to be paying that interest any longer, that 21 or 22% interest rate on that larger debt. And I think it also gives you momentum. And it's not just me saying this. The CNN article and other articles are saying get rid of that, pay off that credit card debt. They essentially call that a 20% risk-free return because you aren't paying 20% interest on that additional principal that you owe. And I want to go back to reiterate, I think that gives you momentum and hope that you can get that higher interest rate credit card paid down.
The best thing to do is to stay motivated. And although it makes a lot of sense to just take that $3,200 that you're returning and just throw it straight at your debt, I get how that makes a lot of sense. But I think you have to stay motivated. So what my wife and I always did is, again, we had 4 kids, a mortgage. We had all sorts of deductions. We were receiving thousands of dollars in our tax refund. But we wouldn't just take it all and throw it at debt. We would divide it up.
That's a common thing, too.
Is that what
it's a very common theme among money experts. So walk us through what you did.
Well, we would just take a portion of it. So say maybe 10% or 20%, and we would set that aside and say, okay, this is our fun money or this is our project money. Yeah. This is our family vacation money. And then the rest of it can go to responsible pay downs or purchases that we've been looking forward to. So we absolutely loved getting that tax refund until this year. And that's when the tax refund stopped for the first time ever. We didn't get a tax refund. We owed some money. This was not a surprise to us. We knew that all our kids moving up and leaving.
So I was going to ask you, what was your reaction when you hit the submit button on the TurboTax form?
So angry is probably too harsh of a word, but I was certainly
defeated.
Angry. Yeah, I was defeated because it wasn't just the $2,000 that I had to pay the federal government. I had to pay another $240 for the tax software. And I looked at it, I thought, this is absolutely incredible. We are it is such a complicated system. Even after spending an hour and a half with tax software, as I can click and answer every question, I still felt like, well, I hope I did this right. Fingers crossed.
So in what regard? Like, were you worried that you were cheating yourself out of a larger refund? Or were you worried that you were taking too much advantage of some of the, whatever the tax code is, that you would actually end up flagging yourself accidentally for an audit?
Yeah, both.
Oh, so you were stuck in the middle.
Yeah, stuck in the middle. Like, should I bought some binoculars for a job that I have. Can I write that off? Is that an expenditure?
Did you?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Awesome binocular. See, thanks a lot, Deb. Now, if I was doubting it before, now I'm super doubting it.
801-575-TALK. Do you feel like the tax code is just so complicated? You're stuck in the middle like Dave. You don't know if you actually cheated yourself out of a larger refund or you accidentally flagged yourself for an audit because you took too many deductions. 801-575-TALK. How frustrated are you? Today is tax day. Maybe you're rushing to the post office to get your your filings in time, and in order to get a postmarked. I haven't been to the postmark office in so long. I forgot what it's called. A postmark in time by midnight tonight. But Dave's got a list. According to what organization?
Cato.
Yeah,
okay. The Cato Institute put together. It's kind of fun. It was like the March Madness style bracket, and they have the 64 tax loopholes where you're getting tax breaks, and who's going to survive at the end. But it was pretty incredible to look at these 64 tax, and this isn't even a comprehensive list. This is just, hey, here's some of the most popular ones. I just mentioned one. A child tax credit. This is something that most Utahns are using on some level. You get $2,000 for every child that you have. It's pretty straightforward. The idea behind it is we want to make it a little bit easier on parents because kids are expensive. We want to incentivize parents to have kids, so we get the child tax credit. Mm-hmm. Last year, I remembered I got an EV tax credit. I bought an electric vehicle, and I got a $4,000 tax credit on that. So last year, I had 2 children and an EV tax credit. I had $8,000 in tax credits. This year, no EV. I lost a child. I was down to $2,000 in tax credits. That's why we had to pay money this year.
Okay, so what else is on the list?
All right, there's a couple things, and the larger conversation is, have we created all these loopholes? Mm-hmm. Have we made it so complicated that, number one, you don't even know what you qualify for or what you should be asking for? And number two, are these the loopholes that the rich and the famous are using with their high-priced accountants to dodge taxes?
Well, when I look at a loophole, I ask myself, do I want to take the risk? Like I am in like fear factor mode constantly about getting snagged again for an audit. Like, it was not horrible, but it was also not fun.
Right.
And so
not worth the hassle.
I want to stay low. So I'm wondering if I'm purposefully avoiding these loopholes just so I don't flag myself for an audit. Remember, we're taking live calls, and the phone lines are starting to light up because I think a lot of people are very frustrated with how complex the tax code is, and they don't know if they are cheating themselves out of a larger refund or if they are flagging themselves for an audit. So 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Hold the line. Dave's going to start going through the list here. We're going to get to your call in just a matter of minutes.
I talked about the EV tax credit. That's $7,500 for a new one, $4,000 for a used. The child care tax credit, the employer-provided child care credit. So your employer can take a tax credit of about 25% if they offer on-site daycare. Have you ever heard of the orphan drug credit?
No.
The orphan drug, and again, this kind of makes sense. I see why they would do this. They incentivize pharmaceutical companies to develop drugs for rare diseases.
Okay.
Rare diseases obviously don't have a huge benefit, or they're not highly profitable because they're obviously rare, but they still want to incentivize these companies to do the research, to invest in it, so they give a tax break for that.
Yeah.
There's an electricity production tax, nuclear power credits, research and development tax credits, credit union exemptions. Like, in just about every market that you can imagine, there's some sort of loophole or a tax credit available.
Well, a lot of those are not going to apply to me. They're not going to apply to me, right? I'm not going to get the nuclear tax credit.
Right.
I'm not
some are for
building
businesses.
A reactor in
some
my
are for
backyard.
Debbie. Yeah.
Yeah. Pew Research says as of last year, 56% of Americans say they pay more than their fair share in taxes, which is up from 49% a couple of years ago. So we are feeling more and more squeezed out of what we feel is our fair share of taxes. 801-575-TALK. Steve, you live in Orem. You said you hardly ever get a refund. What's going on with your taxes?
Well, I've been doing taxes since probably 1969, and I do my own taxes. And what I do, because I hate the tax law, the thousands of pages will never get changed because both of the parties love them. But what I do is I take the deductions, and they don't take much money out, and I put that money into savings or into stocks for the whole year, draw interest on it, becomes a lot larger. And then if I do owe taxes, then I have it there. But I've got it to use however I want. Yeah. So I don't really get a deduction or pay many taxes by doing it that way.
So when I accidentally did this, Steve, thanks for your call, years ago when I switched jobs and I realized I didn't put enough on my form for deductions or whatever, Dave, you know more about this than I do. And I realized it like in March, not early in the year, late in the year, like just before we filed tax. Wow. It was a mess. Yeah, we owed $10,000 that year.
Oh.
No, it was just all my fault. When I
Right.
filled out the new form at the new job, I don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking backwards. And like, you're under a lot of stress when you change jobs, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Probably shouldn't be forced to fill out a tax form under such duress when you're trying to change your whole life
You're right.
up. And then you fill it out wrong, and nobody comes back and like, hey, did you mean to do this the wrong way? Because your husband
You
are
have no
gonna owe
dependents? How many dependents?
$10,000 by next April. Won't that be a fun family night discussion? Kathleen, you live in Taylorsville. You're retired, and you're living. What are you living on? $40K? What?
Social Security.
Are you living on? Is that your Social Security payment? Is $40K
Yes.
a year? Okay. And
But I have a death benefit coming from my husband's death, and I have to pay taxes on that. Basically, I have $50,000 in taxes this year.
that you
Oh,
owe
wow.
Yeah,
because of the death benefit, Kathleen?
yeah, because you have to pay whatever it puts my income, it raises my income,
Yeah.
but it and raises your Medicare fees and all that stuff.
Is it also deducting? Like, are you going to take a lower Social Security payment because your income went too high with this death benefit?
No, my Social Security does not go down
Okay.
as far as I know. That's probably the next thing to try. But any money when our kids were young, we put everything into an IRA, and I put all of the checks I earned. My husband contributed every month. We put the maximum in every year because we needed the money that we saved on taxes at that time. Now that I'm retired and I'm having to pay as a single person, my taxes are sky high.
Yeah.
Was this a one-time benefit, or is this a continuing benefit?
It was for 5 years, although they haven't paid me the 5th year. I'm probably going to have to go to court to get that settled.
Well,
Well, Kathleen, that brings up a great question, right? I mean, sometimes we get influxes of money from year to year, and what do I do? What can I write off? What am I responsible for? Can I stretch it out over a couple of years? Again, this is why there's tax professionals, why there is billions of dollars spent when it comes to taxes, because it is so highly complicated, in part because there are so many rules and laws and carve-outs, it's impossible to follow.
well, and Kathleen lives on about $40,000 a year, so any extra that she accidentally pays, and I'm not saying she's doing that, but I mean, you can't live on $40,000 a year and not worry about, saving every penny.
Right.
It's just you got to be, as conservative as possible when it comes to how much you're paying in taxes. Shyla in Ogden, hi. You're saying tax preparations are expensive. Dave went through this yesterday. He had a vent session on the show about how much it cost him for TurboTax. How about you?
Same story. Even though I got a very, very small refund back from federal and state, I actually ended up still having to pay money just for the TurboTax. So, I kind of had my own little vent thing earlier this week when I finally hit the button, because I was just like, why am I still paying when it was just for the filing of the taxes, the privilege of filing for the taxes.
Yeah, the $22 refund and the $200 in tax prep services is the worst.
Yep.
Right. So did you end up coming out ahead or behind after you paid that fee?
With everything all said and done, including the fees, I ended up actually still paying because the refund I got was so small, and which was ironic because I reduced the amount of money getting, withheld on my W-4 from last year because I had a lot of issues last year, and I still, like I said, just barely had a slight refund and still paid more because of the tax prep fees.
It's so hard to hit the exact mark. I
Yes.
mean, I've never hit the bullseye when it comes to it's perfect, 0 and 0. You don't owe anything. It's so hard to hit that mark. I just wanted to give out a couple of free or low-cost websites that we heard about yesterday on the show. Free Tax USA is one website. Taxact.com is another one that our very own Heather Kelly has talked about. She has the Money Making Sense podcast that she hosts through KSL News Radio. And 1040 Now is another option.
Yeah, good luck. You have till midnight, folks. Better get it filed quickly.
Straight ahead, we often talk about the health benefits of being married, and there are a lot, but we really talk about the downsides to our health when it comes to marriage. How about this one? Your risk of developing dementia. That's next.
Do you hear annoying buzzing or ringing in your ears? If you or a loved one suffer from chronic tinnitus, you may have been told there's basically nothing you can do. Not true. Since 2003, Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus has helped over 8,000 patients treat hearing loss and decrease their experience with tinnitus. While there is no cure, there are very effective treatments available, including an exciting new FDA-approved treatment called Linear. Here's Utah audiologist and tinnitus expert Dr. Lane Garrett.
In my book, I'll show you the latest research and scientifically proven treatments, including Linear, which was recently approved by the FDA for the treatment of tinnitus, so you can finally find relief.
Get your free copy of Dr. Garrett's book, Take Your Life Back, at freetinnitusbook.com or call 801-770-4746 for more or to schedule a consultation. Let's quiet the noise and bring back your peace. Call 801-770-4746 or visit freetinnitusbook.com. That's freetinnitusbook.com.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas, with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Hi, I'm Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox. When the IRS invades your life, keep in mind, it's not just you.
My name is David. I was in trouble with the IRS. I owed about $140,000. It was a very stressful thing to know that you owed that much money to the IRS.
Don't face the IRS alone.
When I knew how much I owed, it was really, it's overwhelming. It's you worry about the whole, your whole world, what's going to happen.
With everything in your life at stake, don't trust just anyone.
Everything was said and done, and with the IRS offered me to pay $4,000.
You need someone to fight for you.
Do not hesitate. Do not think it twice. Go see Jordan Wilcox.
Visit endtaxworry.com. Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today. That's endtaxworry.com.
Anybody that needs help in this situation, please go see him.
endtaxworry.com.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. With egg prices so high, it has some families skipping the traditional Easter egg coloring activity. MSN.com reports people are getting creative using marshmallows and potatoes instead. But Allie Schneider from Ogden says it's worth it to stick with the eggs for the memories and tradition.
My kids like to do their own dozen, so hopefully we can find a good deal this week.
And it seems others feel the same. The popular egg dye company Paws told CBS this has been their biggest year ever. They've shipped 20% more egg decorating kits this year compared to last year. Thousands of people showed up to the Salt Lake Bees new stadium in South Jordan last night, but they weren't there for a ball game. It was for an interfaith celebration of Holy Week, which was the idea of neighborhood church pastor David Henderson.
I just thought it would be amazing to have an Easter service someday in this stadium.
He tells KSL TV he had the idea about a year ago and was surprised it was able to come together this quickly. People attending it said it was great to be able to celebrate as a community.
Just wanted to kind of feel this commonality with our fellow Christians.
Organizers hope this can be a yearly tradition. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump's trade tariffs include a 145% import tax on Chinese goods, getting small businesses caught in the middle.
In Detroit, Jessica Quayle says she spent weeks bracing for tariffs. But with even smaller items facing tariffs, costs add up.
I didn't realize how many accessories, like hair clips, rubber bands, a lot of those say made in China as well.
Across the country, in Napa, California, Alex Ozanenko's sporting goods store is bracing for the worst.
Unless we get some kind of a deal worked out with China, and Vietnam, any of those countries, we're going to see a significant spike in prices.
ABC's Will Reeve reporting. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 119 points, 1/3% to 40,643. Coming up, it's warm today, maybe a storm by later in the week. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
You've seen Master Electrical Service vans driving around your community for years and years. We have exciting news. Mountain Home Services and Master Electrical Service, they've joined forces. They're working together.
That's right. And so that means they can do a lot more for your home. Maybe you need a new EV charger installed, or you need those electrical outlets replaced. Or, you know what? It's time to get that HVAC checked out.
I love having somebody that I can call that can take care of multiple things in my house. I don't want to have 50 guys that I got to call. You just call Mountain Home Services and plumbing, as you mentioned, heating and air, fireplaces, and it all comes with this upfront pricing guarantee.
Which means there's no hidden fees. So the price that they quote you upfront when they show up to bid the job is the price that you pay when the job is complete.
Check them out online at mountainhomeservices.com. That's mountainhomeservices.com.
Or you can call them. They'd love to hear from you. 801-543-2222. One more time, 801-543-2222.
Time for another check of traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the only crash left on the boards right now is southbound I-15 right at the Center Street exit in Orem. It is over on the right shoulder. Traffic is a bit slow in that area. And we'll still see a few pockets of slowdowns northbound I-15 in Salt Lake Valley. That is between 90th South and 53rd South in Murray. No crashes in the area. It's just taking a while for everybody to get back up to freeway speeds from all the crashes we had earlier. But everything looking much better up in Weber and Davis counties, where we had a dozen crashes or so this morning. And if you do see something on the roadways, let us know at the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. Planning a spring kitchen or bath remodel? Visit Utah's one-stop countertop shop, Bedrock Quartz, and see all the new quartz, granite, and quartzite counters. Visit bedrockquartz.com. That's bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather now. Today, partly cloudy but warm with highs in the 70s. A small storm will roll in by the end of the day tomorrow, so enjoy the sunshine while you can. Right now, it's 54 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We often talk about the benefits, particularly the health benefits of being married. Let's talk about the downside of marriage. Dementia? That's according to a new study. The story comes out of fortune.com, and we're going to talk about it right now. Do you ever think dementia could be potentially linked to your happy marriage?
No, it doesn't even cross my mind. In fact, I look at dementia as the greatest fear of my life. Like this is the one that I'm just terrified of. Not just for myself, but for a family member, a loved one, my mother, whatever it might be, because I've seen what it can do. I've seen the devastating impacts on families. So of all the physical ailments that happen, dementia is probably one of the scariest.
As you were saying, as you said, the greatest fear of your life, I would agree. You think of, what lies ahead. And the one thing that concerns me very much for my kids is like, am I going to end up in a situation where they're going to need to care for me around the clock, and the cost of care, because my mind is slipping, and having been around people who have been stricken with dementia and then eventually or Alzheimer's disease, it's horrible. It's evil. But this is, I think what's particularly interesting in this study isn't so much, it's certainly frightening to think about dementia, but it's why they think this, why they think marriage could possibly contribute to higher rates of dementia. And it's a significant increase in the potential for it. I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but I want you to know, Dave, I nailed it. Spot on. I didn't even know the answer, and as I saw the headline, I know exactly why.
You thought, you're like, I think I've got this one.
Exactly why this could happen. Benefits to marriage are pretty clear through different studies. Lower heart disease risk. I think there's a happiness that can be associated with marriage. Not all marriages, but a lot of marriages feel happier. There's always somebody to, do something with and talk to. Lower risk of depression. I could see that, right? Lower risk of depression, and better cancer survival rates. And I attribute some of that to you've got somebody tapping on your shoulder saying you need to get in and get checked.
Yeah.
No, but your partner's not making excuses like you would when you're single like me. Like, it's probably not a big deal.
Yeah, it's probably
I'll
fine.
talk myself out of it. But let's get to this new study that getting married may significantly increase your risk of dementia. So what they found is researchers found that widowed, divorced, and never married individuals had approximately a 50% or lower risk of dementia. So let me repeat that. Researchers found that if you're widowed, you're divorced, never married, you have approximately a 50% or lower risk of dementia. And they include Alzheimer's disease in that and Lewy body dementia. I had a friend who developed Lewy body dementia. Again, evil disease.
Can I just put a little fine point on some of these numbers? So it's not saying you have a 50-50. Sometimes when we throw out these numbers, the chances of getting dementia in general is like 2 or 3%. And then of that 2 or 3%, that's when that 50% comes in, is on that subset.
Right. So we're talking about this study is unique in that it looks at, does marriage, being married, increase your risk? And what this is saying is that never married individuals or those who are divorced have a much lower risk of developing dementia. Now, when I say that, why do you think that is?
There's obviously something in married life that we're doing that contributes to it. And I'm assuming that they've actually spelled out what we do as married couples.
Well, so here's the thing. I want to make note of this because I think it's important. There could also be in this study, when they look at 20 plus thousand individuals, okay, who are older up there in years, and that's who they studied. There can also be a delayed diagnosis for people who are single.
Yes.
You're living alone. Nobody's saying, hey, you seem like something's off. You're not quite, the same person you used to be. So nobody is tapping on your shoulder, nagging you to get to the doctor and get things checked out. So that could be a reason for these results. But in general, what they're saying is you don't socialize enough as married couple. You socialize with each other, right? That's it. So people who are single, like me, have this amazing, they don't say this in the study, but this is how I painted the picture in my mind. You got this amazing social life, like I'm living the life of a red carpet socialite every Friday and Saturday night, which is truly what some of the people who know me personally think I do. I'm like, no, I'm sitting at home like the rest of you all. Are you kidding? I've no social life. But we tend to force ourselves, or our friends tend to force us to get together, like girls' night out, guys' night out or whatever. We tend to get out more and do more socially active things as single people. And I'm going to bet you and your wife kind of fall into the we have each other category. We chat it out over Friday night dinners out, and you don't get out, so to speak, as much as maybe I do. And with people who I don't socialize with on a regular basis. Like they kind of introduce new ideas to my brain. I'm thinking through things. I'm having more broader conversations more frequently.
Oh, that's exactly what happens. That's what has happened. I remember when my wife and I were first married, we were out to dinner and we saw a couple that were, much older than us. They were probably in their 60s, and they sat there and they ate their meal together. I bet they didn't say 5 words to each other. And my wife and I were looking, that is so strange because we're just chatting back and forth. Well, now that I'm in my 50s, I realize, we've had every conversation. We've talked about everything, right? The conversation can become stale if you allow it. And let me qualify that. The conversation can become stale if you allow it. It's something that I realized was maybe a fault in me. I would come home from work, and my wife would say, "Hey, how was work? Oh, it was fine. What'd you talk about? Oh, the usual stuff."
Nothing.
I would kind of give that dismissive answer, not just because I talked about it for 3 hours or 5 hours or 10 hours already. I'm like, do I really want to have this conversation again? And I realized it's absolutely crucial that I have this conversation with my wife. When she asks me, "Hey, what did you talk about today?" I've got to say, "Hey, we talked about this, this, and this." I can't be more interested in talking about these things with our listeners than I am my own wife.
Co-host.
Yeah, I
I
can't.
agree.
Right? So
right.
I realized every day when I come home, I know they're going to ask me, "Hey, Dad, what'd you talk about?" Or, "Honey, what did you talk about?" I'm going to have a topic that I'm passionate about, that I want to talk about, because it makes an interesting conversation. And then we can interact back and forth, and we don't fall into that married morass of, "What'd you up to?" "Nothing." "What you doing tonight?" "I don't know."
And again, that's awesome, by the way. But again, that's between the two of you. which is great. You want to have that conversation, right? But are you getting out and socializing with different groups of people? I mean, how often is the girls' night out or the guys' night out, or you're purposefully planning to go to events or getting outside the house and talking to neighbors and getting to know new people that kind of stimulate your mind and make you think about it. And that's what they're saying is kind of the rut that married people are falling into, is just same, right? Routine all the time, not getting out and meeting new people.
Doesn't keep your mind active,
Yes.
which we know
Right.
when your mind is active and nimble and ever learning, that helps prevent dementia.
But according to this study, 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK, I want to ask our listeners, like, are you guilty of this? I mean, do you have a tough time busting the grind of marriage? Sorry, marriage isolation, not marriage. How do you bust the grind of marriage isolation when it's just the two of you day in and day out, chatting it out or not talking at all over dinner, like what Dave and Charlene witnessed early in their marriage across the restaurant? How do you bust the grind of marriage isolation and get out and socialize independently or even as a couple? Or do you not do this at all? 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
Discover the timeless value at Duke's Jewelers, a local treasure since 1948. Whether you're searching for a unique engagement ring or need expert watch repair, Duke's has been serving the community for over 75 years. It's the perfect time to visit and explore the wide selection of custom designs and quality gemstones. The skilled designers at Duke's can bring your dream piece to life, while experienced jewelers handle repairs and modifications in-house. Duke's Jewelers takes pride in value pricing, ensuring you receive the best prices every day. Need an appraisal? The Duke's Jewelers AGS certified gemologist is here to help. Whether it's hand or machine engraving, or redesigning old favorites into something new, get personalized service for every occasion. Visit Duke's Jewelers and experience the difference of locally operated expertise and dedication. Duke's Jewelers in Springfield, Utah.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
David Dujanovic.
I mean, I was so shocked when I read this report in Fortune, because so often when we talk about marriage, we talk about the benefits of marriage, and there are lots of benefits. I mean, lower risk of depression, better outcomes when it comes to things like, cancer and heart disease, because I think partly because you got a spouse making sure you get to your doctor's appointments and get your annual physicals. But this study suggests that the downside of marriage is that it leads to the increased risk of dementia. I did not see that coming.
I didn't see it either. I wouldn't have assumed that. And many of the benefits that we see in marriage, and you had a whole host of benefits from lower levels of depression, that does appear to be in high-quality marriages.
Yeah.
So there's even a subset there. So
Sure. Yeah.
I think when you look at dementia, there being a higher rate of dementia in marriages, we have to look. Obviously, it's not marriage itself. It's the behavior that we fall into when we are married. And some of those things are what?
Yeah, like I would say marriage isolation. I'd call it marriage isolation, where the two of you just hang out all the time together. You don't You don't get out and socialize either as a couple or as an individual. And that's one of the reasons that researchers give for the potential to increase your risk, because it's showing that people who have either never been married or divorced or widowed have a much reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's. And the minute I read that first part of this report, I thought, I know why. I've been married. I'm also now divorced, and I get out and socialize a lot more. I force myself sometimes to get out and socialize, but I force myself to get out of the home, even to go shopping for the day. I'm like, I need to go talk to another human being. I can't just be sitting in my home wondering if the floors are clean enough today and wondering what I'm going to pull out of the freezer for dinner. And like, that is the extent of the conversation inside my head. I force myself to go to a store and interact with a cashier or interact with customers. And I noticed when I was married, I wasn't doing that as often. We had each other, right? But they're saying that, like, ultimately you need to have other people in your life to kind of stimulate your, your thoughts, to talk to neighbors, to get out of your shell. And I wonder, so we asked this question, how do you bust the grind of marriage isolation and get out and socialize? Because I do wonder, Dave, if people feel guilty if their spouse won't go, they won't go alone. They won't go without their spouse, right? They feel this spousal guilt, right, to stay back because their spouse, they don't want to go on a hike, so I won't go on a hike. Oh, they don't want to go to that dinner my company's hosting, so I won't go to the dinner. Or I'll just pretend like I'm sick too, and I'll avoid that event because I just don't want to leave my spouse behind. I feel badly about that. 801-575-TALK.
Jump out to Randy in Stansbury. Randy, what's your fix?
Well, I'm in Camp Dave. I'm terrified of the effects of it to your family.
Yeah,
I've seen it. We have a neighborhood group that was formed by several of the neighbors who call it empty nesters, and we meet once a month. All of the couples who are now home alone, and last night we had our meeting, gathering, our dinner. Easter fun, and we had over 20 people there.
Nice.
And it's just really gives us the opportunity to get out and socialize, because otherwise we would probably just be spending another night at home watching a YouTube video.
Yeah, right? I know, exactly. I love it. I love that the neighborhood is coming together. You don't have to travel very far to go do something together, and you get to interact and talk and chat, and I think that's a great fix.
Elizabeth in Far West, what's your solution?
Live. Get out there. I'm 64, and I tell you what, it's life is amazing right now. And, get out there, like the guy said, empty nesters. But Utah is an amazing state. You've got outdoors all over the place, and you got your skiing, your fishing, your ice fishing, your hiking. Just getting out and living instead of living the old life, to live a new life.
I was.
And the other thing.
Go ahead, Elizabeth. No, go ahead. Finish.
The
your
other
thought.
thing is another thing is a lot of people don't realize this dementia is. I don't know if it's really considered contributed to the lack of activities, being married, but your diet's different, and I understand it's more of a type 3 diabetes they're calling it.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard a lot about diet, the connection there, but that's definitely worth looking into. Henry in Cottonwood Heights. Henry?
Hi, hey, how you doing? Hey, so I'm 68. We're celebrating our 45th anniversary this year.
Congrats.
And my solution is that you just figure out what works for you. And what I mean by that is, when we were younger, we were both extreme extroverts. We loved to be social. And as I've gotten older, I've become more of an introvert, and I don't like to go as much as my wife does. And so she's figured out how to really, have a great social circle with a lot of women. And I don't like to go across the world to other places to visit anymore because I'm just not a tourist, and she is. And so she's found girls that she can do those kinds of things with. I'm happy to go to St. George and California and Arizona, but I just don't want to go to Europe and Africa. And so this year she's going to Africa, to Mexico, to Boston, and those are just places I'm not interested in going anymore. And we have a great marriage. And then as far as restaurants, we sit down. There isn't a lot said, but we love each other and we enjoy each other and we enjoy the quiet that comes from that. And we don't need to, we've said a lot in the last 45 years, and we don't need to say a lot to be comfortable and enjoy each other.
Well, I can hear in your voice, Henry, you do sound like you're happy and in love. So congrats. That's awesome. On our text line at 57500, this listener reminds us that senior centers, a great option for seniors, married or single, to have social interaction, have a healthy meal, do some fun activities, and learn new skills. Love that idea. We're paying taxes to support the senior centers in our communities, our public senior centers. So, why not get out and enjoy them?
I'll tell you what I do with my mom to keep her mind active. I debate her. We have debates all the time. I love riling her up, and I'm always getting kicked under the table by my siblings. You're like, stop poking the bear, Dave. But I love doing it with my mom. I love having that debate and back and forth.
Yeah. Does she get frustrated with you?
No, she loves it.
Oh, she loves it too.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another text. It says, my wife and I invite neighbors and friends over to play games. I love that. It's like a low cost, no cost really, unless everybody brings an appetizer or whatever. But it's a low cost or no cost way of getting together and having fun.
We just went and played. We had like a ward activity. All the adults. We went bowling, and we had bowling it was 22-year-olds bowling with 80-year-olds, and it was so much fun. I'm like, how often do we do that, where we go out, mix with people outside of our age groups, and we had a ball? It was so fun to talk to the young kids that had babies, and then the retirees. You do tend to kind of group people with your same age at times, and it's fun to mix it up with different ages.
Straight ahead, Utah outpaces the country when it comes to median household income. And at first I cheered. I was like, oh, yeah, and then I realized there's a reason why this rally might not matter. So we're going to take a deeper dive into that next.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Why would you ever buy 3 when you can buy 1? Well, that's why you want to get with a Connecticut representative and let them walk you through why their water softeners are so fantastic. I've had mine for years, and I'll tell you this. Connecticut water softeners are so highly efficient. They use 2/3 less salt than other water softeners just because of the way they are designed. Connecticut has an all-mechanical system. It measures water precisely, so no computer, no guesstimation. It just cycles when you need it, and the result is Connecticut delivers that perfectly soft 24/7 soft water using minimal salt. Why not save your back from carrying 3 bags of salt when you only need 1? Get the savings in your account as well. Go ahead and call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, right now at 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or log on to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Life can feel hard or overwhelming sometimes, but you don't have to face things alone. Getting help for yourself or someone you're worried about starts with a call or text to 988, where you always have someone to talk to, someone to help you, and somewhere safe to go. 988 Utah is here for anyone experiencing mental health challenges or emotional distress. 988 Utah can even help you navigate how to support your struggling loved ones. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, trained professionals are ready to listen and provide free, confidential support 24/7. Utah, don't hesitate to call or text 988 for you or someone you care about. The caring staff at 988 Utah can connect you to the right resources. Learn more at 988.utah.gov.
Breaking news, massive consumer alert. Windows 10 support is ending in October of 2025. After that, Microsoft will no longer provide security updates or bug fixes for most users. This could expose you to hackers who could steal all your data, or worse yet, your crypto, your money out of your bank account, your stocks. It could be crazy. If you're still using Windows 10, you might want to consider upgrading to Windows 11. Bring your PC, no matter where you bought it. I don't care if you bought it from me. Bring it into any PC laptop's location, and we'll scan it to see if you can upgrade it to Windows 11. Now, if you can't, you're still in luck, because we'll buy your used computer from you and transfer all your data for free to your new PC laptop's computer. Now, PC laptops, desktops, or laptops start at only $999, and we have zero interest for a year financing to make it really easy on approved credit. So just get into PC laptops right now, because we love you. PClaptops.com. That's PClaptops.com. Computers from $999.
While the weather's mild, it's a perfect time to get your air conditioner ready for summer. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time you're outside, take a look at your air conditioner. There's a few things you can do to avoid common breakdowns that happen at the beginning of the season. If you covered it for the winter, uncover it. If the bushes and shrubs are growing around it, make sure you trim them back about 18 to 24 inches. If the coils are dirty, rinse them off with your garden hose. Then go inside and make sure you have a clean filter. If you do all that and find yourself with an air conditioner that isn't working, consider calling Any Hour Services. We have an air conditioner troubleshooting special for any homeowners listening. For only $29, we'll send a certified HVAC technician to your home to troubleshoot why your air conditioner isn't working. Then they'll give you a summary of their findings and present you options to repair it. To find out why your air conditioner isn't working for only $29, call Any Hour Services today at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
KSL News Time, 10 o'clock. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. People are getting out to enjoy the beautiful spring weather we have right now, and that's led to search and rescue teams in southern Utah being extra busy, including in Zion National Park.
On Friday, a couple from Norway was hiking on Mount Kinisava when they got off trail and ran out of water. St. George News reports they got stuck on a ledge and decided to call 911. They were airlifted out. A second rescue happened on Sunday when crews responded to a call for a man who fell around 30 feet into the Pine Creek drainage area. Hurricane Fire and Rescue posted on Facebook saying they carried him out on a litter. They say he was stable and awake the whole time, although he had multiple injuries. Zion urges its visitors to carefully plan their hiking routes and bring enough water. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
An elderly Lehigh man is recovering after he was hit by a car while riding his bike. The Daily Herald reports it happened near the intersection of Main and Center Street. Our top national story this hour is from ABC News. If you hadn't heard, today's tax day.
This is Jim Ryan. Millions of middle-income taxpayers leave money on the table by failing to take the Earned Income Credit.
Every year we have too large of a percentage of people who are qualified for it, but they don't claim it.
Says Luis Garcia of the IRS.
And if you don't claim it, you don't get it.
The EIC can be as high as $7,800 for families with 3 kids. That's on top of any refund those families are due. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment, the Dow's up 0.3% at 145 points to 40,670. Coming up, it's beautiful today, but some rain coming down the road. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Spring fever is heating up and Motorsportsland's Markdown Madness event is just beginning. Don't miss your chance to save big on your dream RV. Now through April 26th, score unbeatable deals on Utah's best RV selection. New travel trailers from $5 a day, fifth wheels from $14, and motorhomes starting at just $35 a day. With no hidden fees, just upfront pricing and a low-pressure buying environment. And mark your calendar for RV University, April 26th. Free seminars led by top manufacturers and our expert team. Seating is limited, so reserve your spot now at motorsportsland.com. For over 55 years, families have trusted Motorsportsland for honest pricing, flexible financing, expert service, and the best parts inventory in Utah. Markdown Madness ends April 26th, so come into a Motorsportsland RV Center today and let us help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
Comcast Business helps turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business. It's how restaurants become reliably up and running neighborhood favorites. How retailers become seamlessly restocking, cyber-securing, must-visit shops. And how healthcare offices become the data managing caregivers that we all depend on. With reliable connectivity, enhanced cybersecurity, advanced fiber solutions, and Wi-Fi backup, Comcast Business is powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Now through April 21st, new customers can get started with 150 megabit internet and Security Edge for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement. Plus, ask how to get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying internet package. Call today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. Requires enrollment and paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and other fees extra and subject to change. Early termination fee applies.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Time for a check of traffic and weather together on KSL News Radio, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got a crash southbound I-15 right at the top of the on-ramp from 800 north in Orem. Southbound I-15 at the top of the on-ramp from 800 north in Orem. That is on the right shoulder, but if you go a couple hundred yards down the road, there's still the original crash just before you exit to Center Street in Orem, also on the right, but all that's causing a bit of slowing in the area. We also have a crash in Ogden. This is on Wall Avenue northbound right at 31st Street. It's over, partially blocking the right lane and shoulder. That's not causing too many delays. A Bold New is downloading now, reimagined through a virtual reality lens where fantasy and heartbreak collide. Experience Madame Butterfly at Capitol Theater May 3rd through 11th. Madame Butterfly. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, beautiful today. High of 74 degrees, nearly the same tomorrow. High of 76, but tomorrow night, the wind picks up ahead of a storm that'll bring some rain on Thursday. Right now it's 57 degrees and partly cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Utah outpaces the nation when it comes to median household income. Median household income is now at about $98,000 a year. And at first when I saw that number or even that headline, I was like, woohoo, that's awesome, right?
It should be high fives all around. Like, that is fantastic news. But here's the ginormous bucket of cold water that I'm just going to dump on everybody. What does it take? What does it mean? How much money do you need to make to buy a home? That's what I boil it down to, because $98,000, is that what you said? $98,000 sounds fantastic. That's basically 6 figures until you realize that it takes $151,000 in household income to buy a home. You're 2/3 of the way there.
It has felt like for years for me that probably dating back, to maybe 5 years ago, after housing prices kind of went down, they dipped during and after the pandemic, and then they started shooting back up again, and they went up and up and up and up. It's like grasping at ropes of sand. It's like grasping, you make more money, but everything costs more. And then we had inflation that during the Biden administration years, and it was like, we're paying more for it felt like just about everything, right? I mean, we're just looking for, gold dust in a pile of dirt to find something that went down in price during those years. And now I'm like, okay, well, what are tariffs going to do to the price of everything? And our income's going to continue, or are they going to keep pace at all, not even continue to keep pace? So this is a Kemsey Gardner report out of the University of Utah, the Policy Institute up there at the U. And in a moment, we're going to speak to an expert with Kemsey Gardner on the economy and about this research. But I'm reading the research brief, and it defines a household as comprised of all people occupying the housing unit. So let's say we go into your home, Dave, of 6. Let's pretend everybody's still living at home. My understanding of this is it makes of everybody in the household is contributing to that $98,000 household income to some degree. So we're going to ask them about that, because if they're including, your adult kids who are making it, the teenagers that are making $8,000 a year, I also wonder if this is a number that is broken up by, 2 people who live in that. For example, like, is $98,000 a year 2 incomes? Is each person making in that home $47,000 or $48,000 or $49,000 a year to work full time? And then are you making less than that and having to do some side hustles to keep up? Because I don't know how they're going to define how they're getting to that $98,000 a year, because I think people I talk to are worn down. They aren't making the amount of money they need to make ends meet. And then to make up the difference, they're doing all kinds of side hustles to keep up, and it's just wearing people down.
The biggest shocker has been the last 5 years. Bankrate did a phenomenal job breaking down the numbers. And when I had mentioned that it costs $151,000 to buy a home here in Utah.
No. Back up. Not $151,000 to buy a home. I think that was what the income you need to buy a home. Sorry. Yeah.
That's how much you need to make
right.
as a household. You need to make $151,000 a year to buy a $500,000 home or $550,000 home. Well, 5 years before, January of 2020, how much money did you need to make to be able to buy a home?
$100,000.
$80,000.
$80,000. Okay.
Debbie, that's a $70,000 jump. And I think that's why people are feeling so burdened, because it wasn't that far, in our memory banks where we think, oh, had I made $100,000 just 5 years ago, I'd be able to buy a home easily. And that's just not the case anymore.
I think people are considering whether to put off buying homes. I think they're also being priced out of homes because interest rates have been high, and at least by today's standards, they're high. By the 3% standard that so many people locked in at many years ago, today's interest rates feel high, and so it makes your payment even higher, and so people are holding off on that. And even at $150K a year, to qualify for that house, the median priced home at $550,000, that still doesn't put in a front yard. It doesn't put in a sprinkler system. It doesn't put in window coverings. It doesn't, do the upgrades that you might have wanted to do. It may not even be sustainable because the price of running a home and operating a home. I mean, think about a water heater that's $3,000 to $4,000. I remember that time I got the quote on the water heater, and I didn't go with it. It turns out my water heater just needed a little bit of TLC from a water heater repair expert, which cost me $100. But some companies were quoting me as high as $7,000 to replace one water heater. So I even at even at $98,000 a year, I was cheering. I was cheering. And then I started thinking about, but wait a minute. It's expensive to live. People are priced out of buying a home. It's expensive to rent. You know, if you have a family of 4 or 5 and you're trying to rent a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment, I mean, I saw a place listed. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath place, Dave, for rent in Utah County. I looked at the photos. I couldn't see the square footage side, but it looked relatively petite. $2,500 a month, a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home for rent for $2,500 a month.
When we look at these numbers, if you were to tell me if you're making 6 figures here in Utah, you'd be doing great. That's
I agree.
What I would say. Oh, you're making 6 figures? That's great. $100,000, fantastic. And that's what we're making on average? Great. That's a huge success story. I think what we forget is because we have this proximity bias, we love Utah because we love the mountains, we love skiing, we love hiking, we love being so close to national parks, whatever it might be. We forget there's other places in the country. And I don't think most of us know how much cheaper it is to live in other parts of the country.
Well, you investigated Detroit recently.
Yes. 4,000 square foot home. Beautiful. Tons of personality. The design is outstanding, all brick. It's an older home.
And you aren't joking when you said it's beautiful. You showed me the photos because I was like, yeah, slide your iPad over here and let me be the judge. The person in the room who's bought more homes than you've ever thought about buying. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
That's a pretty
it's
home.
A gorgeous home.
Yeah, $275,000. 4,000 square feet. There was another one, $475,000, 4,200 square feet. And these are very, very large homes for cheaper than you can get the average home here in Utah.
But yet, here you sit, you will not put your home for sale and move to Detroit. Why not?
Because I got in at the right time. I got in 20 years ago. It's a totally different conversation now. If I were just getting into the market and I didn't have any equity in my home and I had to pay market prices right now, I couldn't afford it. There's just no way.
But you could in another state.
But I absolutely could in another state. Now, I'm not saying Colorado. I'm not saying California or Washington or New York and Massachusetts.
But
There's
Indiana,
a handful.
Indiana, here he comes.
Oh.
Kentucky.
Indiana?
Yeah.
You need to make $72,000.
How about Kentucky?
Kentucky, $78,000. The best, most affordable place, you only have to make $64,000 to live in West Virginia. We don't often look at, okay, if I can't make that here, then where else could I go? Now we have to qualify. We're making more money here in Utah than they are in West Virginia. Like the average salary is not the same. I can't just say, oh, I'm making $100,000 here in Utah. I'll make $100,000 in West Virginia. That's not how it works. But if you can cash out, if you can sell your home and take that equity and you go to one of these more affordable states, then you're buying a home with cash.
Dave and I talking about a new report from the Kempsey Gardner Institute at the University of Utah. Utah outpacing the nation when it comes to median household income at $98,000. Good morning. Phil Dean is the chief economist with Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute. Thanks for joining the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So put this in perspective for us. $98,000. When I saw that headline and that number, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I was like, well, what is the buying power here? You talk about home prices being up there and rent prices being up there. So put this in perspective for us, if you will, Phil.
Yeah, so as you've talked about, income matters relative to what it buys, right? And so different places in the country have different costs of living. And it turns out that we rank first in the nation when you adjust for cost of living. Now, a couple things to think about with that with that $98,000, that's a household income number. So it's not a single person earning $98,000. It's a household on average in Utah earns $98,000. The other thing to remember, this is like the midpoint. So half of the households earn more than that. Half of the households earn less than that. So that ranks us first. If you look at the unadjusted number, we rank 8th in the country in that median household income. The one place where we do rank high is housing, as you point out. But even there, for your average Utahn, they're not buying a home at today's prices. And so it's kind of looking at this midpoint, this median, which isn't necessarily reflective of a new buyer or a renter, because your average Utahn does own their home and has owned it for a while.
Okay, that was the question I had is, if you're just walking into the market, if you're moving from another state, walking in, you don't have any kind of income or equity in your home, that's not the general case. That's largely not what's happening.
Yeah, that's a very different situation. So in my economist terms, I'll say your marginal home buyer is situated very different than your average home owner, who may have owned their home for 10 years or whatever it is before we had this big run up in home prices. So even though they may not be able to qualify for their home today, doesn't really matter because they bought it 10 years ago. And so they're paying 10 years ago housing prices, not today's housing prices.
So what does this report mean then, Phil, for, people just graduating from college or the younger generation, might be looking to move to Utah? Is this report good news or is it concerning news?
So I think there's a couple pieces. One, as you look at the cost of living besides housing, we're actually below the rest of the U.S. So you look at just, your average services or other goods that we buy, we're a little bit below the U.S. So housing really is that part where even for our average Utahn, we do pay more in housing, just not as much more as the housing prices for a new home buyer are. So I think that's one piece of good news. And the other piece, I think, is some of the direction of this. So as you look over the last decade, but especially over the last several years, we actually have seen some pretty robust increases in incomes. And that's part of kind of what propelled us to being near the top, to being the top state in terms of household income, was our strong economy. And so as I look certainly at someone just finishing school, getting into the job market, definitely going to face challenges on the housing front, but also a lot of opportunities out there on the jobs front.
I have wondered how the high-end employees have changed things here in Utah when you have Silicon Slopes and you have the tech industry coming and making huge investments here in Utah, how that has changed things overall. Has it directly affected these home prices, or can we not just blame the big earners?
Yeah, I think it's a cumulative effect of a large number of things. So it's not just that, although that's certainly a very significant contributor, that is we are getting not only the tech sector, but you think the financial services sector and these other high-paying jobs coming in, that certainly drives up home prices. Housing supply is a major aspect of that, right? So the job side kind of drives up demand for housing, but we also have some fairly significant supply constraints that are out there that also contribute to those high home prices.
Phil Dean, Chief Economist with Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute. Just one final question that I've got for you on this report. It says when you spoke earlier about household income, and is it just what is it, a two-parent household income that you're looking at? Or are you looking at the contributions that the children, even teenagers, might be making when you talk about household income when they go to work for, like, a local store or something like that?
Right. So this is the median household income in the state. So it's that midpoint of income. But certainly a major contributing factor is that we do have larger household sizes. And with those larger household sizes, we have more workers per household than the rest of the nation. So similarly, we actually rank first there in the number of workers per household. And that's definitely a significant contributor to having higher income per household.
So, Phil, what I'm hearing you say is we should be charging our children rent. That's what I hear.
That's the main takeaway, I think, from all of it.
That's
Yeah.
the next report
Good,
from
good.
Kempsey Gardner
I got
Institute.
a great conversation coming up with the 14-year-old.
And I appreciate that and knowing that, because I know we do tend to have larger households here, and a lot of teenagers work, and so I wondered how that $98,000 annual income kind of came together, and it sounds like it also includes some of the income that your teenagers might be earning and are living at home. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. And we do tend to have a lot of part-time workers here, and our average, we have 1.59 workers per household compared to 1.33 in the U.S. So we definitely have more workers per household, whether it's a teenager, that's going to be true for some households, or whether it's, just a married couple and they're both working. But that higher number of labor force participants per household definitely is a significant driver of our higher household income.
Phil Dean, thank you so much for joining us, Chief Economist with Kempsey Gardner Policy Institute.
So when your kids go to work, and when my kids go to work, making $7 to $10. My kids were making $7 an hour back in the day. They just weren't making the big wages your kids were earning because they're a little bit, I think, probably older. That's contributing to that $98,000.
And it matters.
But I never charge my kids rent.
No, of course not. No, and they're not paying for food. But what they were doing is, for example, my daughter would pay for some of her softball fees.
Oh.
So she would contribute and pay for her gas. There were some things that she would pay for because she had a job that wasn't rent, but it certainly contributed to the family because I didn't have to pay for those. I didn't have to pay for the activities or the camp or whatever it might be, or perhaps it's clothing. Right? If she wanted to buy some shoes or some stuff, then she could afford that. So that definitely contributes to the family as well.
Yeah. Do they pay their insurance?
They do now as adults, not when they're kids.
Okay. Straight ahead. From mops to clothes to dishes, guess how many items the average American home contains?
Lots.
You're going to be way off base. It's way more than you think.
Way more than lots?
Yeah,
Okay.
way more than lots. Deseret News opinion editor Jay Evenson with us next to tell us why all this stuff, like we're the manager of stuff in our homes, matters when we're talking tariffs. That's next.
911, what's your emergency?
They kidnapped my son.
What would you do if your child disappeared and someone you trusted was responsible?
We thought he cared for McKay, when in fact he didn't care for anyone.
Listen to Ransom now at ransompodcast.com.
One of the great things about Advanced Garage Door, Deb, and I love Advanced Garage Door, is they're the guys now, right? If I have some questions about who to call, if it's not going up and down, it's the Advanced Garage Door folks.
And you can call them anytime because they've got these certified technicians who are experts at what they do. They're available 24/7 with same-day service, so you don't need to wait around. It is same-day service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dave.
They have a lifetime warranty. It includes labor. You just have to follow their recommendations.
And the KSL listener special that's going on, make sure you ask them about that. That's a free garage door opener when you purchase a garage door, a free garage door inspection with no obligation. And they also are offering $100 off any parts needed for a repair.
I had absolutely no idea that my garage door needed an inspection, but it makes total sense. They're going to make sure that it's balanced, that the spring is good, that the rollers are still running smoothly. Your garage door should not sound like a tank driving over the top of your house. If it's doing that, have them come out, give you that free inspection at Advanced Garage Doors. Reach out to them. Their website is advanced-door.com, advanced-door.com.
And their phone number is 801-989-3667. One more time, 801-989-DOOR.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my superhydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Superhydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Summer is coming and your family wants to enjoy water in an Arctic Spa all-weather pool. Some people call them swim spas, but we call them all-weather pools because it's like a swimming pool that you can use all year long. My family has a tradition of hanging out in our all-weather pool and watching the neighborhood fireworks on New Year's Eve. You can create that family fun time right now with an Arctic Spa all-weather pool in just 2 days for installation. All the fun without the hassle of pool maintenance. Add in our automatic saltwater system to make it even more comfortable and more convenient. With 8 different models with different jet packages and options, specifically designed for Utah's hot summers and cold winters, we have the perfect all-weather pool for you no matter your budget. Come see the Arctic Spa all-weather pools at one of our Arctic Spa stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, or St. George, and online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Hit it.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious? Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Police are investigating a double homicide in downtown Salt Lake City that happened overnight near 5th South and 2nd West. 2 men were found shot inside the Comfort Inn Hotel. Salt Lake City Police Detective Michael Ruff says these are the first 2 people killed in homicides in the city this year.
We're going to continue to work to try to bring justice for anybody that isn't a victim, and in this case we have 2 individuals that we need to figure out what happened, and that's our focus here, is this case, not whether it's more or less.
Police have detained 1 person. A St. George man is facing charges after police say he kicked a puppy while shopping inside a thrift store. The St. George News reports a witness says the suspect also picked up the dog by the leash and swung it around. Store employees called police when they found out what was happening. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. A man accused of starting a fire at the Pennsylvania governor's mansion has been denied bail. Governor Josh Shapiro and his family were home sleeping when the fire started. Police say the suspect had been making posts online talking about how upset he was with both Democrat and Republican leaders. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 0.3% to 125 points to 40,650. Coming up, today's a picture-perfect day. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
KSL News Time 10:32. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, a couple of our crashes just pulled away. One of them was in Bountiful on 500 West at 400 North. The northbound lanes just cleared, but you still have some westbound lanes that are blocked. They're cleaning up some debris from that crash, but at least all the lanes, or at least most of the lanes, are now open. And then another crash, southbound 15 at 800 North in Orem, just pulled away as well. The slowing in that area is easing right now, and everybody else moving along at speed. If you do see something on the roadway that we haven't mentioned, give us a text at the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialists. Whipple that away. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, it's hard to beat today's weather with a high of 74 and mostly sunny, but tomorrow night, after a day of 76-degree temperatures, a wind picks up and a storm moves in, bringing some rain on Thursday. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 58 degrees. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Here's the question. Jay Evenson, opinion editor of the Deseret News, is asking in his piece that dropped just a couple of days ago. Would inflation keep us from collecting more stuff?
Absolutely not. We will buy stuff no matter what, no matter where, no matter how much it costs, because we are absolutely addicted to stuff.
What is the most recent thing you purchased, Dave, that you look back on and think, that's pretty ridiculous that I bought that?
We bought a ring holder organizer.
Are you going into the jewelry business?
It fits 50 rings, Debbie.
I've seen it.
I guarantee you we don't have 50 rings in our family. There's not 50 rings in 5 families.
Tariffs had me a little nervous last week when I was online looking at, my summer fun supplies, and I decided to buy an extra paddleboard fin.
As you do. No. This fin's totally different than the other fins, Debbie.
No, it's a case. Trust me, I loan out my paddle boards, and it never fails. One of my friends will break the paddleboard fin. Right, they're removable, and and they obviously they kind of like they're a fin and they're plastic, and people like to sit on the paddleboard on land, which doesn't end well for the paddleboard, and the fin snaps. So, just in case the tariffs increase the price of the $15 paddleboard fin that I might need come July, I purchased an extra one. It's already arrived, and I've got it where? Oh, yeah, in storage.
In storage. And do you have a storage, a locker?
No.
Or is this storage at your house?
And here's the part we never want to discuss. By the time one of my friends breaks one of my paddleboard fins in July, I will have forgotten that I ordered an extra paddleboard fin in April. Jay Evenson, opinion editor with the Deseret News, in studio with us. And you're laughing, and it's so true. Yes. I mean, we have so much stuff that I'm not sure inflation will keep us from collecting more stuff.
One of my favorite statistics is from a website called Storable. It found that 71% of Americans end up buying something that they know they already have, they just can't find it. And I think, that's me with drill bits, right? I know I need a certain type drill bit, but gosh, I don't know where it is, so I'm just going to go get a new one.
So how much stuff did you find when you were writing this piece, Americans in general, kind of on average, have in their homes?
I found several sources for this figure, and it's still hard for me to wrap my head around. The average American home has 300,000 things in it.
Stop it. Jay, stop that right now.
Then I looked around my home office and I saw all the books and just everything I have.
Clothes,
clothes,
dishes, socks,
spoons,
couches.
You can't go a week without getting a free T-shirt somewhere, right?
I agree.
And this all started when the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said access to cheap goods is not the essence of the American dream, and I thought it isn't. I mean, what are we all?
Very definition.
What are we all about then? But I recently, excuse me, I recently returned from a trip to Bangladesh for the newspaper, and hopefully be writing about that soon. But a lot of their economy is built on the idea that we want cheap goods. They have over 4,000 garment factories in Bangladesh, all geared toward the American market to make cheap clothing, those T-shirts that we get for free. They're so worried about tariffs because they're targeted for a 37% tariff, which would destroy their economy because we wouldn't be getting that cheap stuff anymore, My wife likes to tell the story about when she was young and she'd been saving up for a pair of shoes she'd seen downtown. And she finally got the money together, and she went down, and they'd gone up in price.
This was in the 70s?
This was in the 1970s.
Rampant inflation.
And you think about today, I mean, you have so much clothes, so many things, and it's so cheap. Shoes, cheap. We're used to that, and I don't know what it would take to get us away from that because we just charge it, right?
One of the biggest, that number, the 300,000 items per household is so staggering. But I also saw that we have an unbelievable amount of the world's storage units, the storage facilities.
80% of the world's storage units are in the United States. And my guess is that people buy these because they just can't part with something in their home or many somethings. They put them in the storage unit, and after a while, they can't remember what they have in the storage unit, and they're paying rent for that every month. But yes, and that's probably where a lot of that 300,000 items comes from.
So I have a little bit of a theory about this because, I've always been trying to break the habit of buying, and I'm somewhat successful at times, and then other times I'm like, oh, whatever. It's only $15. I'll, right? It's only $20. It's only $10. Is that we, to some degree, get a kick out of, if you will, being the manager of stuff. We find some validation when we have to manage a storage shed, when we buy, like I did, shelving, like Costco quality shelving for my garage. Literally, this shelving is amazing. You all would be jealous of it. So I could store stuff, right, and keep inventory. But I realized real quickly, I just throw stuff on there. It brings something out of the house, and I just put it on the shelf, and my inventory, it never happens. I really can't remember what I have, so that's why I found myself at Home Depot the other day purchasing sanding discs for my sander that I already had when I got home. It was on my workbench. I had sand. Now, it's only $10.
Yeah.
Yep. But I have a stack of them already. I don't need them, and I don't need to store them. I think we are in a habit of being the manager of stuff. And when you say we have 300,000 items per home, I'm sure I'm guilty. I might have 400,000 items. I don't know. I don't take inventory. I don't even think tariffs, going back to your conversation about the folks in Bangladesh who are fearful of the 37% tariff, which is today's number, that it's going to stop Americans from spending.
I think also, and I'm not an expert on this, but there is sort of a dopamine release that comes when you see something on Amazon or whatever, and you can just
called
buy
retail
it.
therapy.
Right. You feel happy for a moment. You get the item, and maybe a few hours later that fades away, and you're looking for something else. There's some fun in the anticipation of the Amazon truck coming around the corner and delivering something at your house.
Another aspect to this that stood out to me in your article was that we're struggling to absorb the things that are passed on by our deceased relatives. And I couldn't help but think about my wife's grandmother, who had a full Elvis Presley replica bedroom set. Like, how do you pass that along? Like, who wants this? I'm sure you have just the perfect room for it.
Did you dial up Graceland?
Like, hey, I don't know if you guys are looking for a replica set. I mean, are we going to do like the anniversary in thing? Like, hey, this is the Elvis room. This is what you're looking for. But just speaking to, like, who has the room for that? And that's going to get passed on. But it's also kind of a cool thing. Are you really just going to throw it away or donate it?
No, you're not. I can't part with stuff like my grandma left, even though I'm pretty sure some of the dishes could be lead laced. I mean, not anything she did. It's just how the dishes were made back then. Or I have a statue that I have. She had out on her porch that I remember sitting around as kids, and she'd tell her stories from back in the 19-teens that were so fun to talk about. And I remember the statue was there. Well, it's made out of like plaster. So guess what's happening to it? It's crumbling. And I'm like, I can't dare throw that away. Like, I'm going to keep that in my possession until it completely disintegrates, and then I'll probably glue it back together.
Yeah, and our house is fine china. And my mother's family, she grew up in Norway, and so they had this china that predates World War II, and you've got to keep that. So at Thanksgiving and Christmas, we try to decide which china we're using this year. But I'm scared to death to hold it because I don't want to break it.
Well, do you eat off of it?
Yes, we
do?
once a year. Well, we rotate.
Is it lead laced?
I have no
exactly.
idea.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just overthinking all the way that things were made back then. But
they
this
lived
is the
to an
things I
old
think
age,
of.
so it must be okay.
It must be okay. Yeah. 801-575-TALK. Jay, can you stick around?
You bet.
Jay Evenson, opinion editor of the Deseret News, writes, would inflation keep us from collecting more stuff? Want you to weigh in. Answer that question. Will you stop buying, or did you stop buying? I guess we've just been through a lot of inflation. Would you stop buying if tariffs mean higher prices? 801-575-TALK. Weigh in.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-303-1219. 800-303-1219. 800-303-1219.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Do you think tariffs will keep us from collecting more stuff? Jay Evenson of the Deseret News, he's the opinion editor, writes about this in one of his latest opinion pieces. And he talks about that the average American home has 300 things stuffed in it.
300,000.
300,000. Thank you.
Imagine 300,000 things. If every one of those things cost $1, 300,000. $2?
No.
600,000.
That's a
You
good way
start
to look
doing the
at it.
math because you're not paying $1 for your couch or your kitchen table.
Mm-mm.
Think when we're talking about how much it costs and how much we're spending, this right there is A to Z outrageous how much money we spend on just stuff, things here and there. I was just looking at this the other day. I was doing the dishes. I put away, it was every dish in the house was clean. I kid you not, I must have 30 forks.
Yeah.
Like, what do I need 30 forks for?
Well, this is the lure of eBay, right? When eBay came out, everyone was suddenly, I can make a fortune off of all the old junk in my house. And then you find out, you go on eBay and look up what people have paid for your stuff, and it's really disappointing. I have a complete set of 1958 Britannica encyclopedias, and, it'll go for maybe $200 tops. But then you have to pay shipping on top of that.
I wanted to point that out because we're also inheriting things from our predecessors, our ancestors, our family members, sometimes our friends, right?
Yes.
And you probably are experiencing that. You probably have rooms full of stuff. I'm experiencing that too. My grandmother gave me a beautiful music box, and I thought, this thing's got to be worth $100,000, right? It's like 100 years old. I did the research on it not too long ago because I thought, this is how I'm paying for my kids' college. Sorry, Grandma. I'm auctioning this thing. I'm going to hit the Antique Roadshow with this thing. It's worth like $150. I mean, I love it and I'll cherish it forever. But usually it was a Saturday morning when I decided to sit down and research this. And I'm like, well, there goes, there goes all of my dreams and hopes that I was going to hit this windfall when I sold my Nana's music box she gave me from like literally the 1800s, I think. It's passed down from generations.
Yeah, it's amazing. And, I wish my grandparents had a love of Rolex watches or something that they had handed down.
Can I just say, my grandmother, God bless her, she had a 1967 Firebird when I was a kid, right? A Firebird. Wow. It's like the coolest car. It was like the companion to the Camaro. 1967. This thing was awesome. My grandma was super cool. Like I just used to adore her. I worship her. I still do. She sold it and traded that thing in for a Chevy Chevette. Okay? So I recently saw, some Instagram must have been reading my mind because I was thinking about her Firebird. I wish she still had, she would have kept that blue, amazing Firebird, right? Because it'd probably be worth a lot. Yeah, Instagram, a Firebird pops up on my feed, right, like this last week. And I'm like, it's worth so much. It's beautiful. It's super cool. Yeah, so the things that were valuable, like the baseball cards and stuff, like the Babe Ruth baseball cards, I think they got rid of that.
Right.
And they kept the music box that's broken and the plastered statue in my backyard that's disintegrating,
Who's Honus Wagner?
801-575-TALK. I'm sorry, we need time for calls. Dave, we got calls?
801-575,
Kaylin.
No
Hi.
calls yet.
Yes.
Kaylin from Pleasant Grove. You think tariffs will make us stop spending like this?
No, I don't.
Why not?
Well, we lived overseas for a few years, and it was pretty apparent pretty quick that American culture is consumerism. It's not like this anywhere else in the world. And while we were overseas, it was pretty easy to assimilate and be like, oh, we actually don't need this stuff. But as soon as we moved back here, it was like, oh, wait, no, we really do. We've got to buy everything. We need it all. We're back, and we're in that culture.
Right back into it. Absolutely. I see it. I just got a text that says, I own a dumpster rental company. I can confirm people have way more than 300,000 items. And I will say this. I had a neighbor who moved out and had one of those, probably a 30-yard dumpster, 30 cubic yards. So a huge dumpster, filled it up 4 times of just throwing stuff away before he moved. It was incredible. And there's my little life hack right there. We should be obligated to move every 10 years as punishment for all the things that we've gained over the years.
Time out. It's a wake-up call. You recently moved. I recently moved. But what I realized is when I got to my new place, things from my old place don't fit. So there I am. Right back out at Home Goods, right back out at Marshall's, competing with the 5,000 other people in line on a random Wednesday evening. Like these stores are filled up with consumers who want to buy. I stand in these lines, and I'm just as guilty as the rest of us.
Well, it makes the economy go. And your caller it was interesting to me because I spent a lot of time in Europe. My wife and her siblings have inherited a house over there from a relative who's deceased. And yes, it's much smaller than what we have here, but there's all kinds of cool stuff in that house. I'm thinking, I want to bring this home and have it. But that's just adding more to the problem, right?
Where do you think the switch happened? Because I don't remember this growing up in the 70s as a thing. I remember being told no. Like, I really wanted the Barbie townhouse for Christmas back when I was 7 or 8 years old. And guess what I've never had? I've never got the Barbie townhouse for Christmas. We just learned, we learned to do without, you know? But where do you think the shift happened?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint it, but I'm thinking around the time of the fall of the Soviet Union and the economy started really doing well in the 80s.
Yeah.
It seemed like there was a change, and we had it pretty good, and we enjoyed that.
I think we don't realize how wealthy we are as a nation. We don't realize this. I remember growing up in my house, and we didn't have – it was a big deal to get a swamp cooler. Mm-hmm. Like back in the early 80s, a swamp cooler was like, this is amazing. Our house is a palace now. If you had a swamp cooler right now, you're like, oh, yeah, that's some old technology. We have raised our standard of living, what our expectation is, and we're paying through the nose for it, but we just accept it because every single house needs to have central air.
Every friend I had growing up, they had one car in the family.
Yeah.
And if somebody got a new car on the street, everybody would run out and want to look
at it. It was like a parade.
Yes.
Right. And everybody wanted to ride around the block. It was just, now it's just like a Tuesday, right?
Right.
I was thinking back about 15, 16, maybe a little longer. My youngest daughter is probably about 7 or 8 years old. And I had made it a mission. Like I ebb and flow with this, right? Like one minute I'm a minimalist and we're getting rid of everything. And we're going to, live off the food we grow in the garden, And then the next minute I'm like, oh, I don't know if we can live like this. Like, I'm not cut out. I'm not like the next Lori Ingalls Wilder here or anything. Well, who am I fooling? So I had gotten rid of our electric can opener when my children were little. I'm like, I'm just going to use a hand crank. And so I actually got rid of it. Of course not. I put it in storage in case I needed it for later. So I moved it from the counter. Well, my youngest daughter never knew we even had electric can opener, and she always saw me using the can opener, the crank stick, to open the cat food and open the soup, whatever. And she runs in the house one day, again, 6 or 7 years old, and she goes, Mom, I know you have that can opener that you have to crank, but I was over at Berta's house next to Grandma's house, and they have what's called an electric can opener. You should go look at buying one because they make them now. And I'm just like,
the greatest technology ever.
I know, but I put ours in storage. And she's like, why would you do that?
Mom's crazy.
Thanks, Jay. Fun conversation.
Dave and Dujanovic.
If you're driving to work or you're driving the kids to a soccer game, we're your in-car companions.
People will come up to me and say, oh, I talk to you every day. You don't realize it because I'm talking at the radio, but I talk to you every day.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
One of the best things about Salt Lake City Fat Loss is the results. Holy cow. Whenever you're joining a program or you're looking to lose some weight, you want to see big results. That is the whole purpose of eliminating cookies in your diet, or at least learning what the appropriate amount of cookies that should be consumed in a day. Not an entire sleeve of Oreos, I've learned. But with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I saw incredible results. I lost 57 pounds in 60 days. And if you join right now, you're going to get a great deal. $200 off the program. All you have to do is reach out to them. You will lose it without injections, without surgery, and it is effective. You'll be excited to get on that scale every single morning. So go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss and find out if this works for you. slcfatloss.com is the website. Check them out, slcfatloss.com.
Spring is the perfect time to refresh your home. And Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is here to help. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned, plus a free hallway for just $119. And for a whole home refresh, take 20% off upholstery cleaning. Unlike traditional cleaners, Zero-Res uses patented ZR water, a powerful cleaning solution that lifts dirt and grime without harsh chemicals or detergents. That means your carpets and upholstery stay cleaner, longer, and dry in hours, not days. It's safe for kids, pets, and the environment. Plus, every cleaning comes with the Zero-Res Gotta Love It guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, Zero Res will re-clean for free within 30 days. Don't miss out on these limited time offers because spring cleaning starts now. Get started today at zerores.com and mention KSL to lock in your deal. That's zerores.com.
I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Listen to what actual clients have had to say about working with us.
I'm Paul. I'm a contractor. I had a tax problem that was pretty significant. Needed some help with the IRS. I had prepared my taxes for a few years, but when I went to file them, I didn't have any money to pay those taxes. And so I just filed the returns in my drawer and went about my business. And about 3 years went by when I did that, and pretty soon I owed $102,000. And I met with Jordan, and we talked about the hole I dug myself into. And from start to finish, the process was encouraging, supportive, saved me about $80,000, $102,000 to $22,000. No complaints.
Hi, I'm Jordan Wilcox. You need a tax attorney that's not afraid to fight for you. Schedule your free consultation today. Visit endtaxworry.com.
The relief is immeasurable.
Don't wait. End your nightmare. Your relief starts at endtaxworry.com.
Tim Hughes back once again at Replenish Landscape Garden Products. Greg and Mike are here. Greg, we talk about Replenish, but don't always take the time, I think, to tell people exactly why this stuff is different than anything else out there.
Replenish was developed by Connie Cannon and Peter Lassick years ago. They came up with a formula that was very low in salts, very high in nutrients. It's a material that works well as a soil amendment. It also has a dark, rich color, which many people use as a top dressing. It helps to hold moisture in and keep the weeds down, as well as feeding your plants like you won't believe. And people who use it in their gardens and yards, it gives them this great professional look that they love, as well as producing wonderful plants, and they will come back year after year after year.
You'll find out why people say Replenish is good stuff. Visit them at 4660 South, 200 West in Murray. See them online at replenishcompost.com or give them a call at 801-262-5142. Replenish, it's good stuff.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top local story this hour. A 12-year-old girl missing out of Sandy has been found safe. She reportedly went missing yesterday in the area of 8600 South, 700 East. She's now back with her family. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The White House is responding to the new legal action over President Trump's tariffs.
The White House is dismissing a lawsuit filed by a group of small business owners who say the president doesn't have the power to impose tariffs. The group urged a federal court to declare the tariffs unlawful, saying the national emergency the president used to justify this action is a, quote, figment of his own imagination. The White House says the president's tariff policy, quote, levels the playing field for businesses and workers and addresses a, quote, national emergency of chronic trade deficits. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Your money at this moment. The markets are in the red now. The Dow has lost 28 points. The Nasdaq is off 23. Coming up, sunglasses and umbrellas needed. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8157. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-8157. That's 800-575-8157. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Take advantage of Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric's $99 or it's free mainline drain clearing special. That's right, $99 or it's free. Feel secure knowing the trusted professionals at Yes guarantee that if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Whether it's a small clog or a larger mainline sewer drain issue, the experienced technicians at Yes are ready to solve all of your drain problems. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
You know when you're racing into the store and someone interrupts you with a petition and you just sign it so you can move on? Stop. Don't sign it. Unions are trying to overturn a law that protects our kids. By signing, you're supporting handing over your tax dollars to big unions so they can push their radical agenda into classrooms. Stop the unions. Stand for kids. Tell your friends and family, decline to sign the union petition. Utah Parents United paid for this ad, not authorized by any political issues committee.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. We started with lots of accidents this morning. Right now, all of them have been cleared, so you no longer have delays on the I-15 corridor in either directions into Salt Lake City. Also, the accidents we had in Ogden and Bountiful on city streets are gone, so those lanes have reopened, and that is good news for everybody heading around the valleys. Water belongs in pipes, not in your yard or on your floor. Call Utah Utility Pro, your leak detection and repair specialists. Water, sewer, main, and gas lines. Utah Utility Pro, utahutilitypro.com. A high today of in the 70s, then a chance for rain in the valleys tomorrow through Friday with possible snow in the higher elevations. Right now it's 61 degrees with clear skies. I'm Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Happy tax filing day. Today's the deadline. It's April 15th. You probably know that by now to get your taxes in. And Dave wants to talk about how incredibly complex the United States tax code is. I actually think you bring up a good point. I mean, are we accidentally cheating ourselves out of a higher refund because tax code is so complex?
Debbie, I'll ask you right now. Did you use the clean vehicle and refueling tax credit?
No, I have a hybrid.
Does that qualify?
I don't know.
See, that's the problem.
And even if it did, I wouldn't take it. And I'll tell you why. I'm fearful of an audit. Like, I don't want to do anything that's going to make me stand out from the crowd.
Yes, I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people are like, it's worth paying a premium to just fly under the radar. And this is the problem with the tax code. I'm looking right now at the Cato Institute. They have this hilarious top 64 tax loopholes, like the worst tax loopholes. Like, who's going to battle it out? Who's going to be the champion? Is it going to be the state and local tax deductions, or is it going to be the advanced semiconductor credit? Which is going to be the worst tax loophole? It is so complicated, and I think we're so fearful of making a mistake. That being said, they still force us to do our taxes, and they have us do all the work. It's like, hey, I need you to knit a sweater. I'm not going to teach you on any level how to knit, but I need you to knit a sweater. That's what U.S. tax law is.
I've knitted before. It's really hard. And that's how I look at my taxes. It's really hard, such a headache. I don't look forward to it. Nobody does. But where I get confused, and I think probably because of my confusion, I tend to stand down, is how many deductions there are, and what I'm qualified to take as a deduction, and what I want to risk taking as a deduction. So let me give you an example. I don't believe in all of the years I've filed for taxes, and even in years when many, many, many years ago, I'm talking like in the 90s, I did a lot of voice work. Like apart from my job as a news reporter, I did voice work, and it was for boring stuff like software programs, right? So, if you uploaded a software program in the 90s, you might have heard my voice saying, click, control, cap, lock, backspace, backspace.
You're very good at it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I did a lot of that. I did some phone tree work. Remember the phone trees where you'd sit on? They still have them, but I don't do those anymore. So I did that, like if you know the name of the party you're dialing, press 1 now. If you don't know the name of your party you're dialing, hang up and never call back. That kind of stuff, So I did
Perfect.
that. Yeah. But what I would not do is write off my mileage.
Oh, as you were driving to and from?
No, I wouldn't dare. Or any sort of supply that I might need, like it's just your voice. What's the big deal? Well, there might have been a supply that I needed for whatever reason, or sore throat medication because I was voicing things for 7 or 8 hours straight, right? You lose. I would never chance writing that off. I'm like, forget it. I'll just eat the mileage. I don't care. I wouldn't do that because I did not want to flag myself for an audit. Also because this just feels so complicated to me. I'm like, well, what do I have to show? Like, do I have to show some mileage log if I get audited? Like, and what if I don't keep a great mileage log? Are they going to know if I filled it all in because they've put the ink under a microscope and they can see I filled it all in one day? Obviously I didn't want to take that chance, so I just didn't do it.
And then there's times when you talk to a tax professional and you'll say, hey, can I write this off? They're like, absolutely.
Right?
Like, that's so obvious. Of course you can write that off. And then you bring up something else. They're like, oh, do not do that. Like, and I think it, again, speaks to how complicated the tax law is that we're second-guessing everything, even despite spending hundreds of dollars on tax prep software. And spending an hour and a half on very simple taxes this year, I still walked away thinking, should I have written off those binoculars? Should I have written off those binoculars? Right? I think this is what is so frustrating for Americans is it's expensive, it's complicated, it's confusing, and there's absolutely, again, no teaching of how to knit a sweater. We are not trained in any way to do our taxes.
Well, we must be doing a pretty good job of knitting, because the average Utah refund, according to Axios, is about $3,200. So we're getting money back. I think the question we have is, are we cheating ourselves out of a bigger refund because the tax code is so complex? And I think things are in the code are more obvious than others. The child tax credit's obvious, right? If you have a child, you qualify for a child tax credit. Right? But, until they're, 18 years old? And then they're an adult and you no longer qualify for a child. That one's an obvious one to me. But I do think that over the years, I have probably accidentally cheated myself out of probably hundreds of dollars. I won't say thousands of dollars, but hundreds of dollars in refund money. I'd rather have that money than give it to the government. Why? Well, because I need the money worse than the government. I don't know. Someone might argue otherwise. Valerie Ward. So Caitlin took your call yesterday, Valerie, and as of yesterday, you were like a superstar listener of the Dave and Dujanovic show. But then we realized we want to nab you as you've been a 15-year professional tax preparer. You spent 15 years as a professional tax preparer. So we wanted to nab you for today to join us to talk about some of those misses that we have when we're preparing our taxes. So if for those last minute filers who haven't filed yet, what do you think some of the biggest misses are when it comes to filing our taxes to get a bigger refund?
Well, I can tell you the first one I run into a lot it's a mistake. People have HSAs, a lot of people do anymore, and one of the things is when you go in and you type that little form into that square in the software, there's one other step you've got to take that people are forgetting to do, and that's you've got to say that you spent it all on qualified medical expenses. And if you don't tell the computer that, you're going to get taxed on what you took out of your HSA during the year and a 20% penalty.
Huh?
So if you took out $1,000 to pay for dental and you don't fill in that the $1,000 was spent on medical, you're looking at $100 in tax if you're in the 10% tax bracket plus a $200 penalty. And the government gets to keep $300 of your dollars that they shouldn't.
Because you forgot to check a box.
Yep. It's a bad one.
This is exactly why we have you on right now, because it is this dotting the I's and crossing the T's that can be very confusing and frustrating, because you can absolutely justify, like, oh, yeah, I think that's right, but not knowing the ins and outs and realizing, oh, you just have to duplicate that. You just have to put it in two boxes. That right there, I think, speaks to the very definition of this is insanity.
I agree. Another one we've seen a lot of is the military retirees on the Utah return. They now get a credit against their military retirement, and that started in 2021, and most of them still don't know. So they're missing out on $1,000 from Utah.
So walk us through that. Somebody retires from the military, they reside in Utah, and they get $1,000 credit for their service?
Well, their military retirement, it's still technically taxable here because it goes on the return, but then they calculate how much tax would be on the military retirement, and they subtract it off. So basically, they don't pay taxes on their military retirement here.
So what box do they need to check for that?
Well, it's a code. It's an AJ. It's a credit. So you're going to have to find the credit sections, find the retirement credit sections, check the box for military, and fill in how much of your retirement came from the military. And if you don't do that, you don't get the credit.
How many people do you encounter that just don't want to hassle with this? This is my co-host Debbie Dujanovic, who's like, that's fine. It's fine. I'm not writing that off. I don't want to chance making a mistake.
If you're at a professional's office and they tell you that it's okay, hopefully they're all well educated and they're giving you good information, I would go ahead and take it. But if you're doing it on your own, you need to either look it up, hit F1 in the software, or call somebody for help. Because, you don't want to claim stuff that you're not sure about because it can come back and bite you.
Is there anything else on your list of things that we overlook as taxpayers that might get us a bigger refund? And right now, the average Utah refund is about $3,200, which sounds pretty good to me, but I wonder if it could be a little higher than that if we're doing things like on the health spending accounts, we're clicking that extra box to make sure we're not inadvertently taxing ourselves on something that we should be taxing ourselves on, or like you said, the military retirement. Are they taking advantage of that?
I would say your college kids.
Okay.
I've met an awful lot of people, those 18 to 24-year-olds, that either still live at home or they're in the dorms and they come back for the summer. If they're not paying for 50% of their life, and I mean everything, food, lodging, utilities, clothing, education, medical, dental, travel, recreation, car insurance, cell phone, if they're not paying for half of that, you're still entitled to claim them, and you should. Because they don't make a lot of money. Typically, they've got part-time jobs or whatever. You're going to get a $500 tax credit. Plus, the education credits, there's some amazing ones out there. The American Opportunity Credit is only good 4 times in a lifetime, but it's a $2,500 credit. Well, up to $2,500. Your kid tries to claim it, they're going to get, it depends on their income, but $200, $300, $500. Whereas you might get the $500 for the kid and the $2,500 for the education credit. Calculate it both ways. See what they would get trying to claim it or without it, and offer to pay them what they should have had. That's what I did with all of mine. I was like, I get to claim you. I claim your education credits, but I'll give you back what you should have gotten.
I love it. Valerie, that is such great advice. And I think what this has done for me is it makes me realize there's so many questions. There's so many things I don't understand. And even when I do hit F1 in the software and I try to read up on it, I don't have that depth of knowledge and that breadth of knowledge to know what I'm looking for. And I think that speaks well to your profession, right? To be a tax preparer, when you're doing this, you have a level of expertise that not everyone else has, nor should they expect to have themselves.
It's true. I couldn't do my own taxes, and it frustrated me, so I went and learned how, and then I turned it into a career for a long time. So
I love that that journey. That's amazing that you're like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and now you've been doing this for 15 years for others. The one thing that I want to mention before we let you go is people might not have been listening yesterday when we were having this discussion, is we talked about some free websites. So for those last minute filers who are like in a bind to get their taxes filed by tonight at midnight, or at least in the mail. Valerie, is there any of these websites like Free Tax USA that you think are websites that should be used by folks that you would recommend?
I would use Free Tax USA. That's the one that. So I'm actually retired now, and I just volunteer.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't use the company software anymore, and that was I thought was going to be a very hard transition. And Free Tax USA was great. Federal is free, no matter how complex, no matter what your income is. State costs you $15 plus tax.
Okay. Well, we thank you so much. Go ahead. Finish up.
There are volunteer programs out there. They're probably all closed now because it's the 15th. But next year, if you need help, the IRS runs it's called VITA, VITA. You can Google it. And there are free sites around the valley that you can go to, and they can either answer questions, or if you make too much money, they won't see you. But they do free taxes for an awful lot of folks.
Well, let me ask you this, too, while I have you. What do you think about my tendency to not write off things like mileage over the years, just because I didn't want to be flagged for an audit? Not that would have flagged me for an audit, but for some reason I had that in my head that it would.
Mileage can make your odds of being audited a little higher. But, you just have to keep a notebook, write down the dates, write down the mileage, make sure you're not claiming your commuting mileage because that's bad, just your work mileage. But, yeah, I would do it. You're entitled to it. If you're legally entitled to it, do it. Mm-hmm. Take your money.
Yeah.
And amend your returns if you did them wrong. You've got 3 years to do it. And amending a return is not a red flag. I amended mine twice 1 year.
If I amend my returns, can I amend it if I think I missed one of these tax deductions? If I think maybe I can that American tax credit, I can't remember what you called it, the education
American Opportunity Credit.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard those words.
You have 3 years from when you. Well, it's a little more complicated, but we'll just stick with 3 years to amend your return.
Even if it's in favor of me? I thought amends only count.
Like, I admit I was wrong. Yeah,
we'll take your money. We're not giving it back.
Not only will they give it back, they'll pay you interest from when you should have gotten it.
Stop it.
Even though it was your fault.
That's
you
amazing.
left it off, and they will pay you interest on it.
Incredible.
So amend it. Fix it. Get your money back.
We still have Valerie's number, right? Oh, thank you so much for joining us, Valerie. We appreciate it. What a great information. She's been a professional tax preparer, 15 years, retired now, but enrolled agent. So, Valerie, thank you for your expertise.
I like her tip, too, on if you are, if you do have a college student living at home or you're paying 50% of their expenses or more, which you probably are, whatever the amount is, you can run it both ways to see who gets the most bang for their buck. I've done that in the past before. And she said she's done that before. You can run the numbers before you actually hit submit to see if your child benefits more or you benefit more and how that works out. But I love, all of her advice is phenomenal. I think somebody texted in yesterday to the show and said, and they kind of like they wanted to reach through the phone and tell us, like, shake us a little bit. Like, you guys are making it way too difficult. It's not that hard. But to some extent, I agree. Like, I live on pins and needles when it comes to taxes. I've always been that way. I want a tax preparer to do it. I want to see whoever CPA to do it because I just don't want to have to deal with it or think about it. But she makes it sound like just do it. Like, get the money that you're owed back. It's okay. You're owed that money back. If you make a mistake, get it there and fix it. And the mistake can be in your favor or against you, but just fix it. You might actually have some money coming back with interest. I think what she's shown me is, like, I don't need to be afraid of this.
Yes.
And one of our listeners said, stop being so afraid of this. Like, you don't need to be afraid of it. Just do your taxes. It'll all work out.
And if I'm being totally honest, I guess there's enough cynic in me that makes me believe that the entire system leans into this. They want us to be afraid. They don't want us to nickel and dime and try to recapture every single penny. If that were the case, then it wouldn't be so complicated, right? The government earns by far the most amount of money through our income tax. Right, all their programs that they're spending on right now, it's funded through our tax dollars and the money they print, but primarily our tax dollars. So the incentive to collect as much as possible is absolutely there. And they've told us it's up to you to make sure that you do it right. And if you miss out, this is the thing that frustrates me. If you short the government, they'll come after you. But if you don't claim all the money that you're entitled, they don't come back and they don't fight for you that way.
Okay, hold on a second. I want to disagree with you on that. So a couple of years ago, my whole life I've owed taxes. For some reason, I've not been able to hit that bullseye, like exactly, I paid exactly enough into the system and I don't owe anything now. I owed a significant amount a couple of years ago through thick and thin. Anyhow, I went to my mailbox one day and I saw a letter from the Treasury Department, and I knew it wasn't an audit because I've been audited before, and they sent me anyway a big manila envelope with the audit. So this wasn't an audit. This was just a regular envelope. And I'm like, what does the U.S. Treasury want with me now? And I panicked. I felt anxious about it. And they'd sent me a check back. And they said the reason they sent me the check back, they sent an explanation. It was for several $100s. It was like this amazing windfall. It's because they said when I had paid that large sum of money, I had overpaid. They didn't call me, or they wouldn't call anyway. They'd reach out to you by the mail, by the way. They didn't send me a letter telling me to refile or do anything like that. They just sent me the money back, Dave.
Just sent you the cash.
So maybe that gives you some peace of mind that at least in that case, I opened my mailbox and there was a check for several $100s from the Treasury Department saying I had overpaid on my tax filings that year, and here was a chunk of money back. I was like, that's awesome.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
It's official. Newsmax has become a news giant. It's even listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Over 40 million Americans regularly turn to Newsmax for the news they need to know. They're tuning into the Newsmax channel on all major cable systems. They watch Newsmax 2 on all streaming platforms. They go online to Newsmax.com for breaking headlines. Millions more have downloaded the free Newsmax app on their smartphone and home TV. Reuters says Newsmax is one of the top news brands in America. Even President Trump says Newsmax is terrific, and he's watching. Tens of millions of Americans like you have made the switch to Newsmax for the news they can trust. So make the switch today. You won't ever look back.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Dave and Debbie.
It's impossible to digest and consume all of the news that's now coming at us through either social media or through web pages or through the radio. Pick what is most impactful in your life and focus on that. And that's what Dave and I do every single morning. We pick those issues that are most important to our listeners and we boil it down so it's digestible. It's simple to understand.
I think we're trying to find the essence of the story. You know, you can't be an expert on all things, but that doesn't mean you can't be curious and really find out more and educate yourself and learn the complexities of an issue. But I think all of us start at ground zero on everything. Ask questions, show that curiosity.
And then if you need more research, you can always go to KSLNewsRadio.com and learn more.
Listen for Dave and Dujanovic 9 to noon on KSL News Radio.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful when Mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. I wanted a better relationship with Dad, so I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Verl Johansson, KSL's top local story this hour. We all have until midnight tonight to get our taxes filed.
We can always extend the return, and I always encourage, if you don't have your stuff put together, let's at least extend the return so that you don't get penalized for not filing in a timely manner.
CEO Susan Spears with the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants says you should still try to pay any taxes owed today because an extension does not stop you from getting penalized for paying late. She also says you can both file and pay electronically. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The measles outbreak is growing in Texas with 561 total cases. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was asked about it today.
Healthy children should not die of measles, and there's no reason they should. If the doctors know how to treat at the hospital, that will not happen.
2 unvaccinated children with no underlying conditions have died. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 44 points, S&P down 3, and the NASDAQ down 28 points. Coming up, highs in the 70s. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, Susan.
We haven't seen or heard from you.
Cold.
We would like to locate Joyce.
The mysteries that made podcast history
Cherie Warren disappeared.
are now together for free at kslpodcasts.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, the host of Cold. Join me for Season 1, The Susan Powell Case Files, Season 2, Justice for Joyce, and Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Listen anytime for free at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
You know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
Yeah, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, anything, you need to tell an adult, someone you know and trust. That can be hard, but speaking up about a problem is what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have good speeds on the Valley freeways, but right now crews are on the scene of an injury accident in Murray with about 5 vehicles involved. 7th West at Winchester Street. That's about 6400 South. Also, scanners calling out a new crash, Redwood Road, just north of 5400 South. You can always text us with your traffic tips. That's the KSL Mountain Home Services text line at 57500. Whipple Service Champions, your cooling, heating, plumbing, drains, and electrical specialist. Whipple that away. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
High of 74 degrees today with partly cloudy skies. Breeze moves in tomorrow, but things stay warm until Thursday when rain showers bring temperatures down to a high of 59. Right now, partly cloudy skies and 63 degrees. I'm Burl Johansson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Do you do an Easter egg hunt at your house, Dave?
Every year.
Okay, this weekend is Easter. It's Easter weekend, and here's the headline I'm reading. Expect more fake eggs on this year's Easter spread.
Fake eggs?
Yeah. I wonder if egg prices and the fact that the grocery store app I'm looking at right now shows that every single, 12-pack and 18-pack of eggs is out of stock, is going to force us to, stop coloring. We won't be coloring Easter eggs, and instead we'll be using these plastic eggs.
Yes. Oh, that's a Noriega staple.
What?
We haven't hidden actual eggs for years.
Even
so much
bird flu?
Oh, yeah.
Even
Pre-bird flu.
Okay.
Because we like to stuff the plastic eggs with candy because candy tastes better than eggs. And we like to put money and coins in there. So when you're searching, you're not just getting a disgusting, warm, hard-boiled egg. You're getting fun stuff.
Well, the art of coloring those hard-boiled eggs is fun.
That's true.
Then you decorate them with stickers and those crayons that you can you write on them before you actually put them in the food dye,
That's
and
true.
then you can you never really tell whose name is written on there, right? I mean, so you miss out on all that with the plastic eggs because they already come pre-colored, right? What are they? 2 packages for $5. I think I saw that at Harmon's the other day, and you get a ton of these plastic eggs, and when you stuff them with
lifetime
Hershey Kisses,
supply.
Boring.
You still like to dip an egg? You like to drop it in there and color it?
Yes.
So it smells like vinegar?
But it turns out with the shortage of eggs, like I said, this grocery store app I'm on, I'm like, oh, look at eggs are $4.99 for a dozen. Wow, what a bargain, right? Who cares that they used to be 99 cents a dozen? But okay, we're in a bird flu pandemic or an epidemic or whatever they're calling it.
How long is this thing lasting, by the way?
It's been going on and on and on. But even at $4.99 a dozen, that doesn't do you any good because the item's out of stock. And I noticed that the other day when I was at the grocery store. A thin supply, once again, of eggs. But our very own Britt Johnson went on a hunt of her own to figure out, what families are doing regarding, the egg shortage and the expensive eggs, if you can find them. And look, let's face it, you can't just, hide a dozen eggs. If you've got a few kids on the Easter egg hunt, you got to hire, color and hide a couple of dozen eggs. So now you're up to $20 for eggs. Well, here's what Britt found out.
Viral online videos show creative parents dyeing marshmallows and even potatoes instead of eggs.
No, I think we'll stick with eggs. That's tradition, and there's some traditions that we just like to stick with.
Allie Schneider from Ogden says she appreciates the creativity but wants to keep the egg dyeing tradition for her kids. But for many, eggs are just too much this year. Amber Martin from North Ogden says she actually prefers potatoes now. Not only will it keep costs down, but it's easier for little kids since there's no risk of cracked eggs. But whether you're keeping the traditional eggs or polishing some potatoes, it seems like using dye this Easter is more popular than ever. The egg dye company Paz told CBS this has been a record-breaking season with distribution up 20%. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
I am showing Dave right now a photo of dyed marshmallows. And actually, these are dyed like Rice Krispie treats with like marshmallow on the bottom of them, and they are adorable. And they're in the shape of eggs.
Those look amazing. I would eat a marshmallow egg.
But you can't hide those in the yard.
That's true, right.
Yeah, because you get all the dirt and
and all the
grime on
ants
them.
will crawl on them. That would be super disgusting.
But it's a fun way if you want to decorate eggs just at the kitchen table to do it. So what do you think about marshmallows and potatoes?
First of all, potatoes is hilarious.
I gotta look this up. I gotta see what
we're hiding potatoes. We're acting like eggs are $10,000 per dozen.
You can't find them anywhere, though. $5. You can't even buy. So what do you do if you have a child and you cannot find Easter eggs? Like, this reminds me a little bit of the throwback Tickle Me Elmo days when you couldn't find, Tickle Me Elmos back, was that the 90s, 2000s? And parents, there was like one Tickle Me Elmo on the shelf and parents were crawling over each other. Like neighbors were boxing neighbors for the last Tickle Me Elmo. This isn't quite that, but this is like, you can't find real eggs, Dave. They're like literally on this app, item out of stock. What am I supposed to do as a parent? You gotta pivot. Parents pivot. We're awesome at pivoting. And so parents are pivoting to decorate like a Mr. Potato Head.
That is hilarious. You're like poking in eyeballs. You're gluing it onto it. Here's a raw potato.
But a little bit of this is like kind of our fault for constantly leaning into tradition. Like all I knew as a child growing up was these, hard-boiled eggs. You got to boil them to like 12 minutes because you can't have the yolks be soggy inside because the child cracks it open and eat them. Anyway, we boiled hard-boiled eggs. That's just what we did. And then we colored them with some food dye that we never were able to get out from underneath our fingernails. And after writing on them with some waxy crayon thing that came in the Pause kit, right? And then putting stickers on and then making those little rounded cardboard things that we placed them in. And that's just what we did. If we told our kids from the time they were born or the time they started to go out and hunt Easter eggs, that what our family does is, our tradition is we hide potatoes. Our kids would totally buy into this.
You're right. That's what they're trained for. I'm going to go out there and we're going to make mud pies. Mud pies are going to be the new Noriega thing. It's like, oh, sorry, grandkids. We do mud pies, and mud pies are cool.
Yeah, Wallet Hub reporting an actual survey. They survey people about this stuff. I'm just astounded that. Thank you for answering the call. When somebody calls you on the other end and says, hey, we're doing a survey about when it comes to your Easter egg hunt, are you going to A, hide marshmallows, B, hide potatoes? Are you going to box your neighbors for the last batch of eggs at the grocery store so you can color egg? 47% responded that they are skipping Easter eggs this year. Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah.
We are changing traditions. I think partly because we just get fed up of fighting, people over this stuff. Like when there's one carton of eggs left, I'm like, I'm not going to fight the mom with 3 kids in her cart for that. I'm basically a single mom with grown kids now. That's not the look I want in the grocery store. So you can have the eggs, but I think we are trying to figure out other ways to do this. And I'll lean into your idea of plastic eggs, although I think it's kind of boring.
I will say this. It's never been about the egg itself. It is the competition on the egg hunt.
How so?
my kids will knock down, drag out, fight like a full-on wrestling match over the eggs, because it doesn't matter. I could hide, coins. I could hide rocks. It doesn't matter. It's the competition of searching and destroying your sibling. That is the key. It's all about winning. It doesn't matter what the actual item is.
Yeah. What do they win? Money?
Oh, we do cold hard cash, my friend.
What is this, like change?
Oh,
like loose change? So you can't spend anywhere anymore?
No,
Think about it. We don't even have payphones to put this stuff in.
The grand prize is a cool, hard, crisp $20 bill.
And you stuff that into an egg?
Yeah, you roll it. Actually, my wife, because she's amazing, she does origami. So she folds the $20 bill into like a swan or like
amazing.
a T-shirt or a button-down shirt. It's crazy what she's able to do. They're cool.
Yeah, you married a genius.
Very crafty.
Yeah, she's very artistic.
Yeah.
Well, I just pulled up a photograph of colored potatoes. Like they're colored in blue and green and
they dye the
purples
potatoes?
And magenta, and nobody knows what that color is, but I think it's like a purpley pink. It's yellow. You just cannot take the potato out of the equation because it's got the little dimples and it's got the freckles coming through. Like, it's just
that's
literally
definitely photoshopped. It's photoshopped to look cool.
It's like putting a fake mustache on me and being like, I'm Dave.
Totally
it's
the same.
This is just, it looks, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful array of colors in a basket filled with potatoes. 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Look, what are you doing for Easter? Are you dyeing eggs no matter what? Like, I'm talking about eggs from the dairy section, not from the end cap, the plastic eggs like Dave does when you walk by the end cap at the grocery store and they have them hanging there. Are you a die-hard egg dyer? 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. With over 30 years of experience, Team Nash provides competitive health, life, and disability products. Focused on exceptional customer care, they help individuals find tailored products that meet their unique needs. Owner and agent Celia Nash joins us with more.
At Team Nash, we know that great benefits help businesses thrive. Since 1989, we've partnered with Utah companies to design employee benefit packages that attract talent, retain employees, and support teams. From medical and dental to vision, disability, and beyond, we tailor plans to fit each business's unique needs without the one-size-fits-all approach of larger firms. As a women-owned agency with offices in Salt Lake City and Park City, we take a personal hands-on approach to insurance. We believe benefits should work for both the employers and employees, so we educate, advocate, and simplify the process. That way, business owners can focus on running their companies while employees get the coverage they deserve. We also assist individuals looking for health coverage, including Medicare plans. At Team Nash, we offer benefits and build lasting partnerships based on trust, expertise, and service. To learn more about our services we offer, visit our website, nashinsurance.com.
Team Nash is all about making a positive impact in the community by building strong, trusting relationships. They focus on truly caring for their clients, helping people navigate life's ups and downs with support and integrity every step of the way. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
At Cadillac, we believe true luxury isn't just about craftsmanship, it's about innovation. That's why we created a luxury line of electric SUVs, including the best-selling Lyriq, the all-new Optic, and the Escalade IQ, the first fully electric full-sized SUV. You can travel over 400 miles on a single charge. So come get your dream car and see exactly why driving a Cadillac is like no other driving experience. Visit Jerry Seiner Cadillac and experience the Seiner difference today.
Dave, and Dujanovic.
Well, text messages are rolling in, Dave. Apparently, a lot of our listeners have been to the store today. Different grocery stores. One person says they went to Smith's. Eggs are on the shelves, 18-pack for $7.79. And another said, Deb, I hit Walmart. This morning. Shelves are stacked with eggs. We're talking about this because 47% of Americans who were surveyed anyway by Wallet Hub said they're skipping Easter eggs this year. I think it has to do with the price and the shortage. And maybe the convenience of hiding those boring plastic eggs that you say you load up with loads of cash for your kids. Your wife makes a cute little origami figure and puts the out of a $20 bill and stuffs it inside. That does sound amazing.
It is. It's time consuming as well. I will say this. The traditions are cool. I think sometimes we get caught up in making it the same every single year. Like, oh, we've always used eggs, then we got to continue to use real eggs. We don't need to, right? I think we put kind of this unfair pressure on us. Like, well, if they don't dye eggs, then I've failed as a parent.
Yeah. Are you like that? 801-575-TALK. Do you have to stick with the tradition of dyeing hard-boiled eggs? Or can you go with the Dave Noriega route, the plastic egg? Start the new tradition with your kids. 801-575-TALK. Weigh in. We're having some fun here. A couple days before Easter, and eggs are still a little bit hard to find. The app that I am on right now, the grocery store app I'm on, saying they're out of stock. But I'll hit the store on my way home and see if that's actually still. I mean, they're probably getting shipments by the day. So 801-575-TALK. Are you like Dave Noriega and his family? You hide those plastic eggs.
This has to be one of the weirdest traditions we do, is hiding actual eggs. Like, we do the boiling, and then we do the coloring, and then we hide them outside around the house. So we bury them in dirt. Then we dig them up. We retrieve them with the grimy little hands of toddlers.
Eat them.
We wash them off, and then, so help me, we eat them.
We make deviled eggs out of them.
I absolutely do not. I've never eaten an Easter egg, a colored Easter egg, because it just freaks me out.
I've never known anybody who doesn't.
No, I'm the weird one.
Odd man out there. Yeah.
How can you eat those things, folks? That is crazy. You're just like, you know what I could really go for? Some salmonella. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, 4-year-old, how dirty are those hands? Bring that egg right over. Let's chow down. Like, that is wild. You people are crazy. I'm not the crazy person.
What do? Boil 2 different batches? One goes in the fridge, and then, after, of course, it's dyed and decorated, and it goes in the fridge. One batch goes in the fridge, and then one batch goes in the backyard.
First of all, hard-boiled eggs are gross. So we shouldn't be eating those in general. I like all eggs except the hard-boiled egg. I could do the Rocky raw egg chug before I can choke down a hard-boiled egg.
It's like literally my breakfast this morning. 2 of them.
You keep the egg farmers in business.
A little inside baseball this morning. I accidentally broke 2 eggs during the boiling process this morning.
You dropped them too viciously?
Yeah, it is like gold bullion. Like, oh no, one
There's
broke.
44 cents down the drain.
I took it out. I'm like, you can't go on like that, right? You just can't continue to boil it. So I put it down the drain. I'm sorry. I was like, I can't continue. Plus, it's 4:30 in the morning. I mean, I don't have the wherewithal at that point to argue with the egg. So then I put another one in, and it popped. It popped open again. I'm like, the world is like working against me. This is going to be a really difficult Tuesday for me. I can see that. So I took that out, and by the third one, it was the charm. But I had 2 hard-boiled eggs every single morning before work. It keeps me filled. But I'm wondering, Dave, what are the traditions that you regret starting? Maybe I do sort of regret starting the hard-boiled egg Easter egg hunt tradition that I started with my kids I couldn't wait to start that when they were little. And it was like so super fun. And we would hide the real eggs in the yard. We would hide the real eggs because it's like, that's a tradition. That's what we do. Go find them now. Bring them all back. And when one went missing, it was like, oh no, when we're going to find... When will we find that in July? What day in July will that purple egg be located? How about you?
I will tell you, my family, the tradition they probably regret starting, the tradition I started that they probably regret is it's no longer birthday. It is birthday week. I have now turned my birthday into birthday week.
Yes.
I don't celebrate one day, folks. It is an entire week of like, hey, guys, I would go downstairs and get the Diet Coke, but it's Dad's birthday week. You got to get it for me. It's just the way it is.
Does everybody have a birthday week?
Oh, now it's outrageous.
And is there a gift a day?
What's that?
Is there a gift a day?
No. you get 1 day of gifts and cake and ice cream, but basically anything else you don't want to do for the rest of the week, you can basically claim the birthday week exemption. It's the birthday week exemption.
I'll tell you mine, and this, I don't want this to come across the wrong way. I don't regret leading a life filled with cats. I don't regret. I love cats. Okay.
You regret Fluffy?
I regret it, literally Fluffy. I started this when my kids were little, and this actually happened because of a producer here. It was just lovely. I worked with him when I was on the morning show at KSL5 TV back in 2000, 2001. She brought in a basket of stray kittens that she'd found abandoned in the parking lot of her apartment.
Cats.
Stray kittens, yeah. Kitten, like itty-bitty kittens. Okay. And I, of course, took one home. Okay, that's in the year, like I said, 2000.
The rescue kitten tradition.
We are a rescue cat family. And the hardest thing about this for me is, like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world, but the hardest thing about it is at some point you have to say goodbye, right? And I don't mean give them away. I mean they pass over the Rainbow Bridge. And it's like, oh.
They go live on a big, beautiful farm.
And Fluffy, who we rescued here from Broadcast House, because Kelly, our producer, brought them in, all these cats, and I could only take one home. That was all I was allowed. It was limited. Probably a good thing. Fluffy had just all kinds of health problems. So Fluffy passed away about 3.5 years after we adopted him, a blue-haired Russian that 2 of my family members were highly allergic to. It's a whole story. Anyway, Fluffy had a...
You're violently allergic to this?
Fluffy
you can't breathe around Fluffy?
Yeah,
Welcome to Fluffy Town.
My kids were so little when Fluffy left us, and it's just been one heartbreak after the other. So I guess that's one of the things I've kind of been sad about over the years is like, bringing home the cats. You don't realize, like in the beginning when it's super exciting and they're kittens, that at some point you're going to have to teach your kids about that.
Joining us right now on the phone lines, Mindy from Alpine. Mindy, are you a real egg gal, or do you like the plastic eggs?
Well, we stole this idea from our neighbor. They do an egg bash where you lay a towel down on the ground, and every family brings their own hard-boiled egg. So it's not like you've got a million hard-boiled eggs laying around, that you have to go hide in the yard. Every family brings their own. You do it like the March Madness bracket, and they whoever's egg cracks, 2 people roll them at one time. Anyway, you just move them through the bracket. That way, it's like every family, each person brings one egg colored and dyed, and it takes away everybody has to bring a bajillion eggs to hide in the yard.
You do an egg rolling like race?
It's like you lay a beach towel down on the ground, and 2 people are on the end of the beach towel, and they roll the egg toward each other, and one egg will crack.
Oh yes. Oh, that's cool.
And they're not boiled, right? They're just
like a joust.
No, they are absolutely hard boiled eggs.
Good.
Yes,
Okay.
you can't do it with raw.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, you're leaving them raw. Well, that sounds like fun.
Jousting eggs sounds amazing.
Yeah, and that way it's like one person isn't responsible for buying like 4 dozen eggs. I mean, we've got 12 grandkids and, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Love it.
It just makes it easier. Yeah, and
that's
it's
a
super
fun one.
And you can put your origami folded $20 bill in the egg for the prize or whatever.
Aw. Well, we hope you and your neighbors have a good Easter.
Outstanding. Mindy, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. So, as always, we love when you guys participate with the phone calls. Up next, the union behind the referendum push against Utah's collective bargaining bill says they've crushed their signature goal. Maria Chaleos has more as volunteers wrap up their final day asking for signatures. Stay with us on KSL News Radio.
Jeff Kaplan. When I was a kid, my parents got me a subscription to Newsweek magazine. I would devour every page into the night. And to this day, I sit on my iPad looking for stories for my minute of news, flesh out our coverage, and I get to share the news with you.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
If you have a family member that is struggling with addiction, just know you are not alone. So many have been exactly where you are right now. And do you know what to do? Do you have the resources? It's one of the reasons we love telling you about Renaissance Ranch.
Yeah, they offer these free online family support services through weekly and daily online classes. They are open to the public. You do not have to have a family member enrolled at Renaissance Ranch. You just, need to log on from the comfort of maybe your own living room and listen in, because these classes will offer you hope so you don't lose yourself and your loved one's addiction.
I'm looking right now on Tuesday. There was a women's addiction recovery group. That starts at 7 o'clock this evening. So many different classes for spouses, for parents, this women's support group, a couples recovery group.
Yeah, they treat the entire family. It's faith-based, clinically proven for more than 20 years.
You can find out more about these free online classes open to the public at renaissanceranch.com. That's renaissanceranch.com.
Make Mother's Day easy this year and get the best gift ever, a blanket from Minky Couture. Minky Couture creates the amazingly soft, comfy, and cozy Minky blankets and robes. Just in time for Mother's Day, save 50% off any regularly priced Minky Couture blanket using promo code KSL50 at checkout. Shop online at minkycouture.com or visit your local Minky Couture for special neighborhood deals. Again, save 50% with promo code KSL50 in stores or online at minkycouture.com.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story. The unions behind a ballot referendum that pushes back against Utah's recently passed collective bargaining ban says that they have crushed their signature goal by tens of thousands. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera is live as volunteers wrap up their final day on the streets. Eric?
Maria, today is the final day. You'll see volunteers with clipboards asking for your autograph. Teamsters Utah President Britt Miller says they've been ahead of schedule since day one.
We're probably going to gather at least 200,000 just to make sure that all of our signatures, enough of our signatures are registered voters.
Miller shares what 200,000 signatures looks like on paper.
We're turning in probably tens of thousands of pages of paper that the counties are going to have to go through.
He says their team will work late tonight, then deliver everything to the county tomorrow morning ahead of the official deadline of 5 p.m. Live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
We have been following this story extensively over the last few months. To look at our past coverage or get the latest on the referendum, head to KSLNewsRadio.com. Leaders at the University of Utah are asking faculty to follow the state's flag bill as the start date approaches. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The bill limiting which flags can be flown in government-owned buildings and classrooms officially goes into effect May 7th. Utah is the first state to pass a bill like this. Governor Spencer Cox didn't sign or veto it, allowing it to become law last month. The Salt Lake Tribune says the request to follow the law was made during a faculty meeting where officials warned everyone that the consequences of violating the law were serious. The school could be charged up to $500 a day if a reported violation is not taken care of within 30 days. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. The federal government says it's freezing more than $2 billion in grants and contracts to Harvard. It follows the university's announcement that it will defy the Trump administration's demands to limit campus activism, calling the order a government takeover. ABC's Matt Gutman has more.
That line in the sand drawn by Harvard's president, that defiance has been met with applause here on campus by faculty and staff, and the university vowing not to surrender going forward. One of the big questions now, of course, is whether the university dips into that $50 billion plus endowment to try to make up for some of that federal shortfall.
Nearly $9 billion federal funding dollars are at stake. Other national stories KSL is following this hour. More indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran set to happen within days. More from ABC News foreign correspondent Tom Sufi-Burridge.
Clearly, President Trump in the last 24 hours has doubled down on his threat, saying he would be willing to strike Iran's nuclear facilities if Iran does not step back, if a deal is not done. So the stakes are incredibly high going forward. But we've only just had the first round of talks. Next weekend is the second round of talks between the US and Iran in Oman. And I think it's highly significant that Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran has actually at least endorsed this process going forward.
The U.S.'s envoy has said that talks with Iran would be about verifying its nuclear program, but would stop short of calling them to dismantle it altogether. The measles outbreak in Texas is growing. There are now 561 cases, up 20 from Friday. 2 unvaccinated children with no underlying conditions have died. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was asked about that today.
Healthy children should not die of measles, and there's no reason they should. If the doctors know how to treat at the hospital, that will not happen.
Texas now has 58 hospitalizations. All except 11 patients are unvaccinated or unknown status. Police are investigating a double homicide in downtown Salt Lake City. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more from the scene.
Salt Lake City police say this happened near 5th South and 2nd West here just after 12:30 this morning. Officers say they got a 911 call before arriving at the Comfort Inn and finding 2 men inside with gunshot wounds. Officers and paramedics tried to save them, but they both died at the scene. We don't know yet who these men were, if they were staying together or if they were from out of state.
Police have taken 1 person into custody. At this time, they don't believe that there is any threat to the public. A family is in mourning and asking for justice after a father was hit and killed by a drunk driver. Ernesto Puga was walking to the movies with his 10-year-old daughter when he was hit and killed. His ex-wife, Daisy Quintanar, spoke with KSL TV and says he was an amazing guy.
For him to be hit by someone doing everything wrong is just maddening. So the whole family is mad at this guy that did this, and we want justice.
His daughter was also injured. Charging documents say Colby Bia was speeding and ran a red light by 34 seconds. He was also driving with a suspended license. Bia is currently being held without bail and is being charged with automobile homicide. Rose Park is getting a major facelift. KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has details on how drivers will be impacted in the meantime.
Drivers on the west side of Salt Lake need to prepare for 2 years of traffic delays. The city is starting full reconstruction of the 600 and 700 North Corridor tomorrow. City officials stated in a press release they are adding bike lanes and improved crosswalks, among other safety upgrades. The $20 million project between 800 West and Redwood Road will coincide with a separate UDOT project, which is replacing a bridge over the Jordan River on 700 North. Crews say the project will take more than a year, but hopefully be done by 2027. Heather Kelly, KSL News Radio.
First Look Traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. We have a pretty good drive on the Valley freeways, but in Murray, we do have a serious accident where officers will be at the scene investigating. You may not be able to get through the intersection, 7th West Winchester Street. That's about 6400 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And if you do see a problem on the roads, you can always text us with your comments at 57500. It's sponsored by Mountain Home Services.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life. Like frames, because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster, which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular to get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. For years now, I've been telling you about Connecticut soft water systems that use 2/3 less salt than the others. But I've never told you exactly how they do that. Well, there are several ways, so consider this as part 1 in a series. Most of the softeners out there use a finicky, hard-to-adjust computer to guesstimate when to cycle, and it errs on the side of cycling too often, which means it'll burn through way too much salt way too soon. Connecticut is different. It has an all-mechanical system that measures the water precisely. No computer, no guesstimating, so it cycles only when needed. The result, Connecticut delivers perfectly soft water 24/7 using minimal salt. So why not save your lower back from carrying the 3 bags of salt when all you need is 1? Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake. Call them now, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com and tell them Doug sent you.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News. Recapping our top story, today is the last day for the unions to gather signatures in their effort to overturn the recently passed collective bargaining ban. We'll continue to follow that story for you throughout the day. KSL News Time, 12:08. The Duchesne County Jail and some of its employees are in court this week after the death of a 21-year-old woman in their custody. KSL News Radio's Heather Peterson has the story.
In 2016, Madison Jensen died from severe dehydration while she was going through opioid withdrawal at the jail. The civil complaint against the jail says that Jensen couldn't keep food or water down for days, and yet the physician's assistant didn't go to see Madison until she had already been dead in her cell for more than 12 hours. The nurse and the staff who had been assigned to Jensen allegedly only gave Jensen water and Gatorade. Previously, a judge ruled the nurse in this case was not guilty of negligent homicide.
Jensen's father is suing for punitive damages and calling for changes to the Duchesne County's policies for treating inmates who are going through withdrawal. A St. George man is facing charges after police say he kicked a puppy while shopping inside a thrift store. St. George News reports a witness says the suspect also picked up the dog by the leash and swung it around. Store employees called police when they found out what was happening. A lot of people are trying to enjoy the spring weather, and that has emergency crews in southern Utah busy. So far, there have been multiple rescues in Zion National Park. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
On Sunday evening, a hiker fell about 30 feet in the Pine Creek drainage area of Zion. Park rangers and Hurricane Fire District responded and were able to carry the man out. The Hurricane Battalion chief tells St. George News the man had several injuries but was stable and alert through the process. And on Friday, a couple from Norway was airlifted off a ledge while attempting to hike Cowboy Ridge on Mount Knesava. St. George News reports the couple got off trail and ran out of water. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
The man who helped a woman out of her car moments before a train hit in Springville over the weekend is now talking about what happened and says the driver seemed confused. Brenna Doon Taylor tells KSL TV the woman was on the phone with dispatch when he walked up to her car, and she seemed to not be fully aware of her situation.
At least let her know the reality of the situation and the way things are going. And then just, make sure she gets out and doesn't stumble on the tracks. It wasn't that hard of a job.
The train conductor was able to slow the train down enough for the two to get off the tracks before hitting the car Nobody was hurt. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account with built-in benefits. Ricky Meese, how are things looking?
Looking pretty good on the Valley freeways. We don't have any problems reported there. Downtown crews are in the final cleanup stages of an accident, 3rd South 200 West. But in Murray, we've had this multi-vehicle crash with serious injuries at the intersection of 7th West and 6400 South Winchester Street. Now, a part of that intersection has been blocked so crews can conduct a crash investigation, which will last for a couple of hours. So you may or may not be able to get through there. You may just want to avoid it altogether and find an alternate route. Whether you park it, stripe it, or pave it, GoPave Utah has your blacktop covered at gopaveutah.com. That's gopaveutah.com. Call or visit gopaveutah.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be running 10 degrees warmer than yesterday. How about an afternoon high of 74 degrees, more than 10 above the normal? Partly cloudy skies this afternoon. Hold on in the overnight. We'll go for a low of 51. By tomorrow afternoon, 76, mostly cloudy, with a chance for a stray PM shower. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's very nice, 66 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's New News, Intermountain Health is launching a new tool to improve the way allergists and patients approach this allergy season. We will talk to one of their allergists about it. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. I don't know about you, but this nice weather has me planning on vacation season, all the fun things I'd like to do this summer. And if when you're making your plans, you're actually making them based on your weight, like you don't want to take that hike because you feel like you're not going to make it, or you don't want to put on that swimsuit and go to the beach because you feel like you're overweight, then you need to hear about a great plan that I have been following. It is called Salt Lake City Fat Loss, and the reason I chose this plan is, number one, it burns off that stored fat very quickly, so you are inspired to continue. It's not as frustrating as when you've tried to lose that weight by yourself. Number two, it's an all-natural program. There are no injections or surgeries, no medications. You don't have to worry about any side effects. And this plan costs half of what many other plans cost. Plus, they have an easy-to-follow app. It provides you with great resources. They help keep you accountable. They give you great recipes and also daily inspiration. And right now, they are giving you $200 off. And all you need to do to find out more is join them for a free virtual consultation at slcfatloss.com, or you can call them at 801-450-1882. Wouldn't it be great to lose up to a pound per day before summer? That's what many of their clients lose, up to a pound per day. Just go to slcfatloss.com to learn more, slcfatloss.com.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No. We tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes. Our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first. Because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. What is the #1 reason people buy a hot tub and then don't use it? The maintenance. Arctic Spas is relentless in making maintenance easy with our automatic saltwater system. We call it Spa Boy because it's like having someone else take care of your spa for you all the time. It uses salt water, which is the more natural way of treating water, making the water more comfortable. You get no smell, no red eyes, or dry skin, just pure enjoyment. It's automatic because it has a sensor that reads the water and then automatically adjusts the sanitizer and the pH. You don't have to test and adjust the water yourself. You can even monitor everything from your Arctic Spa app on your phone. Now, get all the relaxing advantages of a hot tub without the not-so-relaxing maintenance. So for the most comfortable and convenient spa out there, check out Arctic Spas with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
Any Hour Services free furnace sale is going on right now. If you haven't scheduled your free estimate yet, do it now. Call Any Hour Services today or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
KSL News Time, 12:16. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
Teamsters Utah say by their count, they've surpassed their signature goal for the referendum challenging the collective bargaining bill as the final day of gathering wraps up. I'm KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera.
Second, Rose Park is getting a major overhaul. You can expect 2 years of traffic impacts as they add more crosswalks and bike lanes. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Good speeds up and down the I-15 corridor, but crash investigators remain on the scene of an earlier multiple vehicle crash in Murray. This is at Winchester Street. That's about 6400 south near 7th West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The springtime 70s are back today and tomorrow, but then rain. I'm Matt Johnson.
Few clouds, 66 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A hearing set for today in the deportation case of a Maryland man mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. That same judge who ordered Kilmar Abrego Garcia be returned to the U.S. will now decide what's next after the Supreme Court upheld the order and for the Trump administration to facilitate his return, but says that they have no authority, the White House says, after El Salvador's president refused to release him. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says this case matters, especially since President Trump signaled he's considering deporting what he called homegrown offenders.
They need to comply with the Supreme Court's directive, or the Supreme Court needs to enforce its order aggressively, which should include contempt.
A judge has denied bail for the suspect in the firebomb attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence in the last few days. Cody Balmer being held on charges including arson and attempted murder. ABC's Aaron Katursky has the latest in Harrisburg.
The fire chief told us there was a door between the main dining room where the fire started and the rest of the house that happened to be closed. Had it been open, the chief said he's certain flames and smoke would have spread to the living quarters, putting the governor and his family further at risk.
A new CDC report estimates that autism diagnoses are continuing to increase in the United States, with 1 in 31 children diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder in 2022, compared to 1 in 36 in 2020. Those are the latest figures. Medical experts believe this increase is largely due to better awareness, better access to screening and services, and diagnosis of the wide range of autism spectrum disorder. That data from the study comes from institutions across 14 states, and it comes as Human and Health Services Secretary RFK Jr. has talked about the rising autism rates. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The Intermountain Riverton Hospital is becoming an official pollen counting station, which will ultimately help them better care for their patients this allergy season. Joining me now live to explain is Dr. Scott Taylor with Intermountain Health Riverton Hospital's Southridge Allergy Clinic. And Dr. Taylor, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
First of all, describe for us these changes and why it's a big deal.
Yeah, we're pretty excited because Riverton Hospital, we're working in collaboration with the National Allergy Bureau and doing some pollen collecting here in the South Salt Lake area. And that's pretty exciting for our patients.
So how will this allow you to better care for your patients?
Well, when you know what's in the air, you can know how to treat people's allergies. And we can give a pollen count every day on our website to help our patients know what they're allergic to. And we can formulate a plan, either in medicines or immunotherapy, based off what they're allergic to.
So based on my allergies, I would say this allergy season has been kind of bad, but how would you describe this allergy season so far?
Yeah, I'm sorry you're suffering. It has been pretty bad for a lot of people. The tree pollens have come up a little earlier than sometimes they come up a little later, and we've seen a lot of elm and a lot of cedar and some birch coming up, and that's surely affecting people's allergies.
Right. So you probably treat the more severe patients and are more aware of their specific allergy conditions. So then how does that change how you treat them?
Well, if you always start with simple things like antihistamines and over-the-counter nasal sprays, but if symptoms are more severe or they're not responding to typical medicines, then we have them do allergy testing in the clinic, and then we can correlate that with the pollen count, and we can help them know what to put inside allergy shots or other Moneras to go ahead and treat them.
Awesome. Yeah, I was wondering just how you got so specific about that. Anything else you'd like people to know about this?
I think knowing what's in the air is really important, and dust contains a lot of pollen. And so knowing what you're allergic to, if you check the daily pollen counts through our website or elsewhere, it really helps to kind of know what you're battling against.
Dr. Taylor, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you.
Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Dr. Scott Taylor. He's with Intermountain Health Riverton Hospital's Southridge Allergy Clinic. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account with built-in benefits. What's happening on the roads, Ricky?
It's pretty quiet on our freeways and main secondaries, but in Murray, we do have that injury accident. There were 5 or 6 vehicles involved with this at Winchester Street and 7th West. That's about 6400 South. And crews are still on the scene doing a crash investigation, which could last for a couple of hours. It's a spot you may want to avoid and just go around the block using an alternate route. It had been considered off limits to through traffic for a little while. You may be able to get through, but again, you may not. So think about that. But other than that, we are looking at a nice and quiet noontime drive. A bold new Madam Butterfly is downloading now, reimagined through a virtual reality lens where fantasy and heartbreak collide. Experience Madam Butterfly at Capitol Theater May 3rd through 11th. Madam Butterfly. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starting out with splendid 70s. Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 74. 76 tomorrow, slight south breeze, mostly cloudy, light shower possible. Better rain chances on Thursday, we'll call it showers, 59. 55, mostly cloudy on Friday, 30% chance for a light shower. Partly cloudy skies, 60 degrees on Saturday. Easter Sunday, partly cloudy, 66. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
And it's partly cloudy in downtown Salt Lake City and 66 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Markets have been in negative territory for most of the day. The Dow right now down by more than 100 points. A complete update of your money news is coming up next.
It's hard to believe, but summer's right around the corner. Make sure your home stays cool with a brand new air conditioner and get a free furnace for next winter. That's right. When you purchase a premium air conditioner or heat pump from Whipple Service Champions, you'll get a brand new furnace absolutely free. You just pay for the labor to install. This deal won't last long. Schedule your free estimate today. Book online at whipplethataway.com. whipplethataway.com.
An emergency can happen any second. Here's a few seconds to think about where you'd go. When you need medical care fast, the closest emergency room is a smart thing to know. Common Spirit Health ERs are your direct path between feeling scared or uncomfortable and feeling better. Find emergency care in your neighborhood at mountain.commonspirit.org.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture with daily use.
Are you a small business owner who needs immediate cash flow? At Swish Funding, we have flexible funding options from $25,000 to $2 million. For the best rates and terms for your business, just one application to Swish Funding gives you access to our entire network of funders, with cash in your account in as little as 24 hours. To qualify, you must be in business for at least 1 year with monthly revenue of $50,000. Apply at swishradio.com and use code GROW. Swishradio.com, code GROW.
Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is your opportunity to save up to 40 to 80% on a hot tub or swim spa this weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 833-SPA-SALE or visit hottubandSwimSpaSale.com.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
KSL News Time 1226. Families are getting creative this Easter to avoid needing to buy a lot of eggs.
Viral online videos show creative parents dyeing marshmallows and even potatoes instead of eggs.
No, I think we'll stick with eggs. That's tradition, and there's some traditions that we just like to stick with.
Allie Schneider from Ogden says she appreciates the creativity but wants to keep the egg dyeing tradition for her kids. But for many, eggs are just too much this year. Amber Martin from North Ogden says she actually prefers potatoes now. Not only will it keep costs down, but it's easier for little kids since there's no risk of cracked eggs. But whether you're keeping the traditional eggs or polishing some potatoes, it seems like using dye this Easter is more popular than ever. The egg dye company Paz told CBS this has been a record-breaking season with distribution up 20%. Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Watching Utah's money, auto stocks are up after President Trump says he's looking to help some car companies. This, of course, comes after he increased auto tariffs to 25%. Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis all rose between 3% and 6% yesterday. If you've been holding on to that Forever 21 gift card, now is the time to use it. The bankrupt fast fashion retailer says today is the last day shoppers can use them. They still have several locations in Utah, including one in Farmington and Murray. It's tax day, and so often what could be a rough day, restaurants are offering some discounts. Krispy Kreme says anyone who buys a dozen donuts can get a second dozen free, only paying the sales tax. Burger King is offering 1-cent cheeseburgers for Royal Perks members. Shake Shack is offering a free burger with a purchase of $11 or more. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow is down by 131 points, more than 0.25%, sitting at 40,394. S&P 500 down by 14. The NASDAQ gets down by 56 points.
You know how they always used to ask you in grade school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I bet I'm the only kid who ever stood proud and said, I want to be a rain gutter or siding installer. Jim Jr. here with RGS Exteriors, and man, I can still remember all those wannabe astronauts and quarterbacks looking at me like I was an idiot. Who would want to install rain gutters or siding? Somebody who was a fourth generation in business. That's who. My great-grandfather, T.R. Brown, started the company in the 50s. Then my grandfather took over from him, then my dad, Tim Sr., and now I've been at the helm since 2005. Every day I wake up and think, man, I'm living the dream. And now my own kids are starting to work in the business too. 5 generations. If you want gutters, siding, windows, or any exteriors on your home, and a company that really cares deep down to our souls, give RGS a call. 801-280-3110 or find us online, rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com. 801-280-3110, rgsutah.com.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Ricky Meese.
Cleanup continues of a nasty accident in Murray, 7th West Winchester Street. That's about 6400 South. If you're traveling any of the Valley freeways, you're going to see good speeds and no problems at this time. Break your routine and into adventure in Cedar City, Bryan Head. Connected to nature, Cedar City makes spring the best break ever. Shopping, dining, and recreation galore. Break up your adventure. Visit cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A beautiful spring-like forecast today. Partly cloudy skies and a high of 74. Overnight, 51, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, up to 76, a little bit of a breeze, mostly cloudy with a PM shower possible. Rain, better chances for it on Thursday, 59. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, 66 degrees downtown, and join KSL Radio's Amanda Dixon this Friday from 3 to 5 at the Salt Lake NPS store at 1600 Empire Road, npsstore.com.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time 1230. KSL's top story this hour. We are hearing from one of the many Utah college students who have had their student visas revoked by the federal government without notice. KSL News Radio's Adam Small spoke with a BYU PhD student who might have to go back to Japan before the end of the month.
Just, speechless.
Suguru Anda is just 1 year from having his PhD, but he just learned his I-20 was revoked without notice due to what the letter said was an investigation into his criminal history, but he doesn't have one. His attorney tells me he was cited for a catch-and-release violation on a fishing trip with the family back in 2019, but that was dismissed. The only other things on his record are 2 speeding tickets. Despite that, he was given 15 days to leave the country.
I feel helpless, like nobody know answer and nobody know what to do, what's going to happen.
His attorney tells me they're now fighting to allow him to stay in the U.S. until his visa is reinstated, but there is a chance Suguru, his wife, and 5 kids will have to fly back to Japan until this is all figured out. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
KSL's top national stories. There's another hearing in federal court in Maryland today over the fate of a Salvadoran man who was sent by the U.S. to a counter-terror prison in his native country, despite the order of an immigration judge more than 5 years ago that he not be sent back to El Salvador. The Trump administration fiercely argues the man was a member of MS-13. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy has the latest.
On TV, administration officials have made stark claims.
He's part of a foreign terrorist organization
trafficking in his background.
We will not apologize for getting these monsters the hell out of our country.
But the evidence in court is scant. His family calls Kilmar Abrego Garcia a hard-working sheet metal apprentice. In 2019, an immigration judge protected him from being sent back to El Salvador, a move that allowed him to legally work. The federal judge who's now ordered that the government facilitate his return calls the allegations of gang membership vague and uncorroborated. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
The White House is responding to the new legal action over President Trump's tariffs. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers has the latest.
The White House is dismissing a lawsuit filed by a group of small business owners who say the president doesn't have the power to impose tariffs. The group urged a federal court to declare the tariffs unlawful, saying the national emergency the president used to justify this action is a, quote, figment of his own imagination. The White House says the president's tariff policy, quote, levels the playing field for businesses and workers and addresses a, quote, national emergency of chronic trade deficits. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
A poll of Utah voters shows a slight majority feel tariffs will have a negative effect on the state, but will also lead to long-term growth.
These seemingly conflicting viewpoints might reflect a reality-based view. Hinckley Institute Director Jason Perry tells Deseret News people are seeing their costs of living going up and their retirements going down and feeling like something has to change. It will likely have to be long-term. Responses also show the political divide, with Republicans generally feeling positive about state impacts of tariffs and Democrats feeling the opposite. The poll also showed a large difference between the feelings of men and women, with only 37% of women feeling tariffs would be positive versus 57% of men. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Utah has the #1 economic outlook in the country for the 18th year in a row. According to the Rich States, Poor States Competitiveness Index, Utah is also ranked in the top for GDP growth rate, social mobility, and education outcomes. Governor Spencer Cox says that by keeping government limited and focused on the essentials, we've created the freedom and opportunity for prosperity to take root and grow. Midnight is the deadline to file your taxes. CEO Susan Spears with the Utah Association of Certified Public Accountants says file an extension if you aren't going to hit tonight's deadline. But she says an extension won't save you from penalties if you owe money.
1% up to 5%
penalties per month on non-payment of your taxes, which is why we say get those payments in if you can, because we want to stop those penalties.
Spears says be kind to your CPA if you rush in today last minute, expecting everything to go smoothly. She also says filing electronically is the best way to go. Utah is working on a plan to better care for the state's aging population as it continues to increase. KSL News Radio's Alexandria Bonilla reports.
The Department of Health and Human Services wants to hear from the older population themselves. It will be holding listening sessions across the state over the next 2 months to hear concerns. Mels Holmgren is the director of the Division of Aging and Adult Services. He says about 1/5 of Utahns are 65 or older, and by 2060, they'll make up 1/4 of the population.
We're having fewer children and people are living longer, and so we're seeing a greater need to support our older citizens across the state.
Identifying these needs will help the department work with the governor and develop a 10-year multi-sector plan to better care for the state's older population in the future. Alexandria Bonilla, KSL News Radio.
First look traffic. Ricky Meese, any trouble spots?
You're good to go on the freeways. That's not a problem. But in Murray, crews are still working this accident. Multiple vehicles involved and serious injuries at Winchester Street, that's 6400 South, about 7th West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL News Time, 1236.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Is your mom or dad struggling to get in and out of their chair? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. We've seen it happen for years. As customers come into our store and they've had a recent fall, they're finally ready to ask for some help. Don't wait until you're injured. We have everything you need to avoid the fall before it happens. Now until the end of February, we're running a deal that we think you're going to love. When you purchase a lift chair, you can unlock 10% off your entire purchase. Get side tables, canes, shower chairs, walkers, and even ramps. We're open Monday through Friday. We've got stores from Idaho Falls to St. George and now in Tooele. Come into any one of our 11 locations and let us help you. Find us online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Do you want to make your house more comfortable, more energy efficient, more valuable? Well, maybe it's time you took a look at your doors and windows, and there's nobody around who does doors and windows better than Peach Doors and Windows.
Improve the functionality of your home with custom replacement windows, entry doors, patio doors. Maybe you have a sunroom or you want a new custom front door and windows to maximize the beauty of your home. Peach offers flexible financing available to fit any budget. They've got expert installation, including fiberglass doors, which are their specialty, and they'll replace your windows with the highest energy efficiency rating.
And customer service is a top priority. It's the reason why they have so many 5-star reviews on Google. You can check it out for yourself. You can also check them out online at peachbuildingproducts.com. You can call for a free in-home estimate, 801-566-1255.
Or see them in person, 2940 South, 300 West in Salt Lake City. They're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Go check out their beautiful showroom. It's Peach Doors and Windows.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top story. Utah has been named as the state with the best economic outlook in the country for the 18th year in a row. KSL News Time, 1238. A 12-year-old girl who was missing out of Sandy has been found safe. She reportedly went missing yesterday in the area of 8600 South and 7th East. Now she's back with her family. A Salt Lake man is now facing charges after firing shots at another driver during a road rage incident. The charging documents say 25-year-old Elias Jose Orozco was tailgating another car, and that driver told him to stop driving crazy. That's when the driver heard 6 gunshots. Police later identified Orozco as the suspect. He's been charged with aggravated assault and discharge of a firearm, which will come with road rage enhancements if convicted. Summer road trips are right around the corner, and the increased demand often comes with higher gas prices. But this spring has been a yo-yo with prices at the pump, with some areas seeing prices go down. KSL News Radio's Don Brinkerhoff reports.
Normally at this time of year, demand for gas increases and refineries switch over to their more expensive summer blends, sending prices higher. A release from AAA blames the falling prices on lower than normal demand, as well as an increase in production from OPEC.
AAA reports a national average dropped a bit this morning, but Utah's average gas price for a gallon of regular gas went up. It now sits at $3.32. Thousands of people showed up to the Salt Lake Bees' new stadium in South Jordan last night, but they weren't there for a ball game. There was an interfaith celebration for Holy Week, which was the idea of neighborhood church pastor David Henderson.
I just thought it would be amazing to have an Easter service someday in this stadium.
He tells KSL TV he had the idea about a year ago and was surprised it was able to come together this quickly. People attending said it was great being able to celebrate as a community.
Just wanted to kind of feel this commonality with our fellow Christians.
Organizers hope that this can be a yearly tradition. We are getting a look at what the new West Jordan Temple will look like. Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints has released renderings of the outside. It will be built on a 16-acre site at 7148 South and will include a new meeting house. The two-story building will be about 85,000 square feet. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. And here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a little bit of busy traffic northbound on I-15 just before 90th South. It looks like we have, I think it's an oversized load that has pulled over to the right shoulder just before 90th, and it is partially blocking that right lane of traffic and adding to a little bit of the backup in the area. But overall, it's a pretty good drive on all the Valley freeways, and we still have investigators working on this crash in Murray, Winchester Street. That's 6400 South, that's 7th West. Create your floral sanctuary with Olson's Greenhouse. Locally grown premium quality flowers to complement porches, patios, containers. Don't miss Olson's Container Fest, Saturday, April 26th at all Home Depots. Details at ogg.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Your Tuesday forecast is looking fantastic, folks. Partly cloudy skies today with a high of 74 degrees. Overnight, 51, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow afternoon, 76 with a PM shower possible in the evening, mostly cloudy skies. Headed into Thursday, better rain chances and cooler, 59. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Partly cloudy, 66 degrees downtown. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, 25 years of trying to prevent shaken baby syndrome here in Utah. We will talk to the organization behind that effort, which had a ribbon cutting today in Farmington. That's coming up, streaming live at kslnewsradio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Do you need new windows? Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
For over 22 years, speaking on business on KSL News Radio has been a beloved tradition, celebrating our heroic business leaders and Utah consumers who have helped build one of the strongest state economies in the nation. Now, under the stewardship of the Salt Lake Chamber and hosted by Chamber President and CEO Derek Miller, the program continues to shine a spotlight on those who make Utah's business environment dynamic and thriving. With his expertise and passion, Derek brings the stories of our business community to life. As part of the Salt Lake Chamber, Speaking on Business is proud to continue its legacy of highlighting inspiring stories, trends, and special guests. Support Utah businesses now and be part of Utah's thriving economy. More information can be found at slchamber.com. That's slchamber.com. When you choose Performance Automotive in Bountiful, you're choosing selection, convenience, and exceptional service. with 3 locations: Performance Ford Lincoln, Performance Honda, and Performance Toyota. Performance Automotive is here to serve your needs. Performance Automotive in Bountiful, where excellence comes standard. Start your search at performancebountiful.com.
At Intermountain Health, we believe life is a circle. May yours surround you with insight, a healthy perspective, trust, and reassurance. The belief that our differences aren't that different, and compassion just when you need it most. Life is a circle. May yours help you live the healthiest life possible. Intermountain Health.
KSL News Time, 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
we're hearing from a PhD student at BYU who just had his student visa revoked without notice due to his alleged criminal history, a history his attorney says doesn't exist. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, state leaders are working on a 10-year plan for aging Utahns as the older population is estimated to double in the next few decades. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
A small crash in West Bountiful, southbound I-15 at about 4th North, out of traffic on the shoulder. And partially blocking a right lane of traffic is an oversized load pulled over to the right, northbound I-15, approximately 9400 south, causing some congestion in the area. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be running 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, partly cloudy skies and beautiful, but then a storm moves in. I'm Matt Johnson.
We have now hit 70 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national stories.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Texas, health officials confirming 20 more measles cases since Friday. That's a total of 561 cases in the state. The majority of cases, those who are unvaccinated or vaccination status is unknown. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. attended the funeral of one of the 2 children who died in Texas. Both were unvaccinated.
Healthy children should not die of measles, and there's no reason they should. If the doctors know how to treat at the hospital, that will not happen.
RFK Jr., who's expressed skepticism in vaccines over the decades, now urging people to get vaccinated. There are more than 700 measles cases nationwide. A judge has denied bail for the suspect in the firebomb attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. Cody Balmer being held on charges including arson and attempted murder. In New York City, jury selection beginning today in the newest sex assault trial of movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. He's pleaded not guilty to charges. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome is celebrating their 25th year preventing child abuse with a ribbon-cutting ceremony at its Farmington office today. Joining me now live is Danielle Vasquez, Executive Director of the National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Maria, for having me. I appreciate it.
First of all, tell us about the need for your services, especially here in Utah.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that we have to exist, right? We're working on preventing shaken baby syndrome, but we're glad that we can be here for 25 years and providing evidence-based prevention education to families across Utah, nationally and internationally.
So what exactly does the organization do?
Yeah, so we develop evidence-based prevention programming. Our biggest program is called the Period of Purple Crying, which educates new parents and caregivers about the normal patterns of infant crying. Crying is the number one trigger for shaking and other forms of infant physical abuse. So it's really important for those caregivers to understand that crying is normal, that you're not a bad parent, and if you're feeling frustrated, it's okay to set your baby down and walk away and take a break.
Danielle, have you been able to determine how much of an impact you guys have been able to have on the community over the last 25 years?
It's hard to always gauge prevention, right? You can't predict what that hasn't happened, but there is evidence out there. There was a study in British Columbia using the Period of Purple Crying program, and they found it actually had a 35% reduction in shaking incidences and a 30% reduction in physical abuse using our prevention education.
So you have a ribbon cutting program. Does that mean that you're expanding your services or?
No, we use the ribbon cutting ceremony as a celebration of a momentous occasion, which is our 25-year anniversary. So that's what we're celebrating. April is Prevent Child Abuse Month, with the third week being Shaken Baby Syndrome Awareness Week. So combine all of that with our 25th anniversary. We couldn't think of a better reason to have a ribbon cutting.
All right. Who would you hope is hearing the message today about your services? Who would you hope would reach out to you?
You know, it's both families and the professionals that serve those families. Anyone that's working with a new mom, dad, babysitter, of a family under a year old, any of those professionals, but also those families, to know that if, raising a baby can be hard, and it's okay. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to need to take a break. We need to know as a society that these families need support. They need help. Don't get frustrated when you hear baby crying in the restaurant or at the grocery store. Help those caregivers. Give them the support that they might need at that time.
Danielle, appreciate your time. Thanks for being with me.
Thank you, Maria. Bye-bye.
Bye. Live on the KSL Newsline, that is Danielle Vasquez, Executive Director of the National Center on Shaken Baby Syndrome. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. And here's Ricky Meese.
A little bit of slower speeds northbound on I-15 in Sandy. It's after the Southtown Mall, approaching 90th South, where just before that, we have what may be a disabled vehicle with an oversized load sticking into that right lane of travel. So everybody is slowing down to make sure they clear it when they go around. Now, for those who are in Davis County, we do have an accident southbound I-15 at 4th North in the West Bountiful area. It is getting moved out of traffic over to the right shoulder after the top of the merge of the on-ramp. So keep an eye out for this. And then in Murray, we have the accident at Winchester Street and 7th West, so that's about 6400 South. It's time to try UTA. Less stress, no traffic, and more U-Time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast starting out very, very nice. 74 today, partly cloudy skies, perfect. 76 tomorrow, mostly cloudy, light stray shower in the evening, possible. 59 on Thursday, showers likely. We'll go mostly cloudy, 30% chance for a shower on Friday, very chilly. 60 degrees, partly cloudy skies on Saturday. Easter Sunday, partly cloudy skies, and 66. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
A lot of sunshine in downtown Salt Lake City and 70 degrees. And the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets. Markets trying to move toward the green. Dow giving back some of those losses. Complete update of your money news is coming up next.
If your water heater's over 10 to 15 years old, congratulations. You've beat the average. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I love hearing stories of people having water heaters that are really old and they're still doing their job. Unfortunately, most of us won't be that lucky. And when water heaters fail, it's usually in spectacularly inconvenient fashion. Whether it's an unexpected cold shower when we're already running late for work, or worse yet, coming home to a flooded basement, it's never fun. If you'd like to look into replacing your water heater before it fails, Any Hour Services is having a sale for any homeowners listening. Whether you're looking for a new tanked water heater or you want to see what upgrading to a tankless would cost, the plumbers at Any Hour Services can show you what options are available. And right now, you can save $400 on a tanked water heater or $1,200 on a tankless. If you think you might be interested, call Any Hour Services today and schedule your free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
And now, the moment we've all been waiting for.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Are you serious? Just 3 weeks in, and the pounds are dropping off very quickly. I am down 26 pounds in 3 weeks.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I let go of 50 pounds. It felt unreal. I was so proud of myself. My body did exactly what it wanted to do. I just gave it its tools.
Let's spring into summer right now with Soda Weight Loss. If you want to look like this for summer, now is the time to join America's #1 weight loss company for client satisfaction and results.
Remember, this is our best offer of the year, so let's go.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
KSL News Time 12:55. Watching Utah's money, Boeing is taking another hit, this time from China. China has stopped accepting orders and buying airline parts from U.S. companies as a trade war between the U.S. and China continues to boil over. Airlines are banking on wealthier, eager vacationers this summer. CNBC reports carriers are hoping travelers will be willing to treat themselves to more expensive and roomier seats as the economy remains uncertain. The Dow is down 67 points, sitting at 40,456. S&P down by 2, and the NASDAQ down by 6.
Hello, Utah. I'm Josh with IWC Roofing. For over 25 years, my family has been safeguarding your homes with the finest roofing solutions. We value your time, and we're committed to replacing most roofs in just one day with a peace of mind 50-year shingle warranty. Call us today at 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. Ask us for the $1,500 off any full roof replacement. Financing available. 801-232-5690. Utah homeowners, look no further than IWC Roofing for a roof that stands the test of time. With 25 years of excellence, IWC is your trusted family-owned roofing expert. At IWC, we offer one-day roof replacements with top-tier quality materials, all with a 50-year shingle warranty. To keep a leaky roof from dampening your day, we're offering $1,500 off a full roof replacement. Get a free estimate. Call 801-232-5690 or visit iwcroofingutah.com. 801-232-5690.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Welcome to Staples.
Hi, I hear Staples prints it all.
Oh, you bet. Posters, banners.
Can you print it all for Mother's Day?
Oh, of course. Photo gifts like canvas prints, photo puzzles.
Can you print it all for graduation?
Sure can. Custom cards and invites.
Can you print a huge banner with the grad's picture?
Oh, definitely.
Even an embarrassing baby picture?
Oh, those are the best kind.
I know, right?
Print it all for moms and grads at Staples. And right now, get 40% off custom cards, invites, and photo gifts. N75 exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Mountain America's MyStyle checking account with built-in benefits. Here's Ricky Meese.
This has been updated to a crash northbound I-15 in Sandy, blocking a right lane of traffic just before 90th South. It has been causing a little bit of backup in the area, so you do need to use caution. And we still have the clearing of a serious injury accident involving many vehicles in Murray, Winchester Street, that's 6400 South at about 7th West. April is Volunteer Month, and at the Salvation Army, we want to know if you have a heart of service. You can be a part of Utah serving 25,000 people, just like we did last year. Visit volunteerusawest.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
And it looks like we could see a chance of showers tomorrow. Tomorrow's high, though, 76. Today we're at 74. Right now, 70 degrees downtown.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
1 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Peterson. KSL's top story this hour is breaking news. Multiple news agencies in Dallas are reporting that police are on the scene at Wilmer Hutchins High School because of a possible active shooter incident. This started about an hour ago. Chopper footage shows students can be seen leaving the building. No official word on a suspect or injuries. Other national stories we're following this hour. Lawyers for Kilmar Abrego Garcia says the White House has taken no steps to comply with court orders to facilitate his release from a prison in El Salvador. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt today said where he's going to end up.
There is never going to be a world in which this is an individual who's going to live a peaceful life in Maryland because he is a foreign terrorist and a MS-13 gang member.
The administration has acknowledged it deported Abrego Garcia by mistake, despite the order of an immigration judge more than 5 years ago that he not be sent back to El Salvador. In local news, Utah has the #1 economic outlook in the country for the 18th year in a row. According to the Rich States Poor States Competitiveness Index, Utah has also ranked in the top for GDP growth rate, social mobility, and education outcomes. Governor Spencer Cox says that by keeping government limited and focused on the essentials, we've created the freedom and opportunity for prosperity to take root and grow. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 86 points, the S&P down 4, and the NASDAQ down 15 points. Coming up, potential rain on the way this week. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 101.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials, like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee.